My ex-boyfriend proposed to me and we broke up. I knew he wasn't the one.
What?
Twas the Christmas before last. My boyfriend proposed to me. I broke up with him a few weeks later. Honestly, I don't want to rant about this. Names change. So I, now 30 female, was in a tumultuous or just bad on and off relationship with Jay, now 31 male, for 8 years. The year before he proposed was genuinely awful. He would get off work around 3 p.m., just play video games till midnight, or sometimes even later. I had a regular job, 9 to 5. I would get off to cook and clean. I also have pets that I would get up early and run with the dog and take care of my cats. By the way, this comes from Awkward Turtle on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I had an ovarian cyst rupture and was in the most pain I'd ever been. I have an insanely high pain tolerance, so that is really saying something. I went to the hospital. After I was supposed to be healed from my cyst rupturing, I realized I was still in constant pain.
Dang.
The pain continued to get worse. I wasn't able to run with my dog in the morning anymore because of it, and I would drag myself through my work days. I was beyond exhausted, and I would beg for some help from Jay with at least doing stuff around the house. He said I don't work as much as him and that my job isn't as physically taxing as his is. He said he is so tired after work and just wants to relax after work. He would expect praise for just putting dishes in the dishwasher, not even doing the dishes that need to be done by hand, or for the few times he would put laundry into the washer. He would do less than the bare minimum and expect to be praised. Then I finally had enough of the pain and went on a long journey of going from doctor to figure out what was wrong. I am really uncomfortable going to any doctors in general. I had to do a lot of advocating for myself. I finally got to a doctor who actually took me seriously. She told me I had severe fibroids that could be seen from the ultrasound they took from my hospital stay. She had me get another ultrasound, and it turned out that in the 3 months from my previous ultrasound, I went from having 13 non-cancerous growths to 27, and they had all doubled or tripled in size.
Oh my God.
Girl's not doing so hot right now.
Not doing so hot. What do you even do in that situation?
Pray
I'm not a
to
doctor.
God that something will be fixed. Oh, one was the size of a golf ball and the other the size of a softball. Asked about my options. I was told I could get them removed, but they were likely to come back. They also said they had a new surgery that would soften the growths, but again, I would likely still grow new ones.
Oh my God.
I made the tough decision to get a hysterectomy.
Dang. I mean, I guess that's like the only thing that would absolutely stop this.
Yeah, I didn't want to go through this again, and if I got pregnant, it would most likely be ectopic. It would be super dangerous for me and any future child. My doctor was on my side, but I had a heck of a time finding a gynecologist that would allow me to do the surgery. I met with a lot of gynecologists that would tell me, "You're so young. You'll want children in the future and regret the surgery." They would ignore the pain I was in and never addressed how pregnancy would be dangerous. I finally found a gynecologist that was on my side and listened to my concerns. She scheduled the surgery for my birthday in January. I just had to hold out for 4 more months. During all this, I got zero support from Jay. He kept commenting on my weight. I had gained a decent amount of weight since I was in too much pain to run anymore. I told him I would likely lose it after I recovered from surgery and got back to exercising. I would beg him to spend more time with me. His whole schedule was to go to work, play video games, come down for a plate of food I cooked, return to the video games, and sleep for a few hours, wake up, rinse, repeat. I confronted him, and he said I could hang with him while he played his games. Oh, fun. He even went as far as saying, "You could even support me from under the desk." Now it's almost Christmas, and I am exhausted just waiting for the next weeks until my surgery. I have a deep-seated hatred for Christmas. I just have never enjoyed or liked anything about it. I have a sneaking suspicion I have some sort of repressed Christmas-related trauma. Honestly, I have no want to uncover that at this time. I have enough trauma I'm sorting through as is. Also, I've never poo-pooted anyone else's holiday. I just don't like it. One day I get home from work and I'm tired and all across feeling gross. He's standing by my fireplace. He told me to come over and make a video to send to his relatives. I told him I really don't want to. I am just too tired and had nothing left in me to pretend for him and his family that I love Christmas and am so happy. He eventually coaxed me into it. So I plastered on my best customer service smile and stand next to him and record the most forced Merry Christmas I have done in a long time. Midway through, he gets on one knee and proposes to me. In the moment, I was stunned and I just said yes. But in the back of my mind, I knew there was no way I was marrying this guy.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So Christmas goes and he's telling his whole family that we're engaged and how happy he is. I meanwhile have nothing to say to anyone. Just kind of disassociated through all of it, counting down the days until my surgery. I kind of had been wanting to see how Jay would treat me through my recovery, to see how it would be if I seriously needed him, then based on that, stay or leave.
You already have your answer though.
Yeah.
You already know. You know that he's like not treating you right with this kind of stuff. So like you don't need
just leave OP.
Yeah,
bro.
you don't
Just
need a
leave.
whole nother situation of how he would handle like a really tough time for you, because this already is tough. You're already going through all this pain, and he's not being supportive at all.
Yeah.
So you already
Leave
know what
him.
he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to like have another example to make that decision.
Leave him, call a family member to make sure that you recover well. I made sure to be very clear with him what I would need. I told him I will need your help a lot, and I'm going to be out of work for 6 weeks. I won't be able to cook or clean. It would all be up to him. I would need help taking my dog out as we had stairs, and my doctor told me to use them no more than 3 times a day for the first couple of weeks. I also told him he's going to have to remind me of my limitations since I'm a very headstrong person. He would reassure me that he would take care of me and help me. He even took 2 weeks off to help. Surprise, surprise. He didn't help me at all. Guess where he was the whole time, Angie? He spent 2 weeks playing video games. He even got as bad as me screaming for his help, but he couldn't hear me because he had his headset on. Babe, I'm locked in. Babe, I can't pause this online game. The house was in complete disarray. I am forever grateful to my amazing coworkers who dropped off meals for me and him through all of it. He would not cook us anything. I ended up reaching out to one of my coworkers in tears because I didn't know what to do. She set up a train of meals split between all my coworkers to make sure I had something to eat every day, neglecting her because she needs help and he's not doing anything.
Well, I feel like that's hard because I feel like you can't, there's no legal action that you could take against that. But I really love that the coworkers did that.
Yeah, no. Coworkers?
I always loved that. When I was a kid, I remember like certain neighbors, my neighbors were all super close.
Oh, nice.
And then I just remember like certain neighbors would go through things. I was a kid, so I don't really know exactly what was going on, but certain surgeries and certain family issues and stuff. And I think the other neighbors would set up a schedule to when we would each make food for them and take it over. And I just think that's such a nice thing. And that is so nice that the coworkers are doing that. And so terrible that the boyfriend, fiance, whatever, can't even like do anything. Like when she was listing out everything that she needed him to do, I was like, too much.
He can't do it.
This man has not developed. This is a little toddler who cannot fathom all the work that he has to do.
I plan on breaking up with him the moment I felt physically able to. But on the 3rd week, he happened to come to bed a bit early, and I was honestly so happy to even have his small crumb of his attention. This quickly dissolved into horror when, out of the corner of my eye, I read a text that read, "Hey, handsome, how's your roommate recovering?"
Of course. Because of course he is.
I thought I was seeing things. We didn't have roommates. I just turned over and pretended to fall asleep. Once he was asleep, I did it. I went through his phone. My heart sunk through my stomach and out my butt. It just wasn't one person. It was over 20.
Oh my God.
He would send them pictures of my pets talking about how cute his roommate's pets were, then pics of himself. He would then flirt with them. And the roughest part was when he did this. He did this on the day he proposed to me. He did this on Christmas. He did this on my birthday while I was in surgery. I felt like I had been hit by a bus.
Oh my goodness.
I confronted him the next day about it. At first, he tried to deny everything. He even cracked and said, "I've been meaning to tell you I'm a catfish." This was the most absurd thing I've ever heard. I told him that is not how catfishing works. You don't send pictures of yourself if you are catfishing.
Wait, yeah, what?
He said he had no intention of meeting up with any of them. He just used them to boost his confidence and ghost them. As if that was to make it any better. I told him to get out of my house and I will never want to see him again. He peacefully left. He spent months groveling and begging for me back. When I told him to leave me alone, he would immediately switch to insulting me. I eventually blocked him and just felt so free. When I healed well from my hysterectomy, and started processing everything I just went through. In April, I decided I wanted to start seeing people. I got on Bumble and matched with Leon, now 28 Mal. Leon was on the outskirts of my friend groups, and we had even briefly hooked up when Jay and I were on a break a few years ago.
Dang.
Ooh, and we can hook up with you every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. Just tap a profile.
Just have a profile. We're live.
Dang, that one? Whew.
Dang.
She bounced back, though.
Oh, yeah.
She bounced back.
She totally did.
I knew it was too soon to start dating again, but I just couldn't resist him. He said he would wait for me, but it was just too good. We would talk about anything. Everything moved very fast. Now we are engaged. We are so happy together. He is too busy showering me in love and building Warhammer minis to be out catfishing.
Dang.
And that's a happy ending right there.
Happy ending.
Wow. Yeah,
Oh my
that dude's
goodness.
Yelp review would be -5.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my, and then all the pictures on the Yelp review would just be like his screenshots of him talking to other girls. Dude, crazy stuff.
But that's the end of that story.
That's the end of the story.
My jealous girlfriend accused me of being inappropriate with my little sister. I broke up with her.
It's good.
Yeah. gross.
Weirdo.
It's so cringy when people don't understand just like familial
Sibling
bonds.
relationships. Yeah, you're a weirdo.
For context, I, 25 male, have been taking care of my little sister, 14 female, since she was 10 when our parents passed away from a car accident. We live in New York. I've had an apartment for about 5 years now, and she lives with me. By the way, this comes from user EllaEnchanted10, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I'm always either at school or work, so I don't see her often because she does just about every extracurricular you can do as a freshman in high school. I'm so proud of her. She has always gotten incredibly good grades and tries her best, but I can't always make it to her plays, concerts, sports games, or debates. I really try, but work has kept me busy. Since February, I've been dating this girl, 24 female, let's call her M. She was incredibly nice and took an interest in my photography, which no one but my sister has done recently. When I was with her, I genuinely forgot about everything else. The first time we had a problem was on my sister's birthday. M knew I had a younger sister. I always talked about her. She's the only family I have, and I kind of see her as my daughter at this point. But whenever I mentioned my sister, M would go quiet. I would ask her what was wrong, but she would just roll her eyes and say, boys don't understand a thing. My sister has never had many friends, so when I told her about M, she got really excited and said there would finally be another girl in the house. I made a reservation at a restaurant my sister loved and invited M. That's how I wanted to introduce them. My sister even bought some makeup with her own money because she wanted to impress her because she seemed cool. We went to the restaurant planning to meet M there. She showed up 30 minutes late, but my sister just laughed it off and introduced herself. M looked my sister up and down and laughed. My sister and I were confused, but we thought she was just laughing at the fact she was late. When my sister was about to order a burger, her favorite, M cut her off and told her she should rethink that choice, saying girls her age had to look the part. I don't know what that meant. Maybe she's right. The guys just don't know anything. But seeing the look on my little sister's face made me upset. My sister just laughed and nodded and ended up eating a salad.
No, leave her alone.
How do you not know though?
You troll.
I'm more focused on the boy on OP being like, I don't know what she meant by that. You don't know what she meant by saying don't order the burger, fatty boom batty. You don't understand that.
Use your
Come
brain.
on.
Use your brain.
I really wanted to speak up, but it was my sister's birthday and I didn't want to spoil it. I told M that my sister and I were going straight home to do our birthday tradition of getting hot chocolate and making blanket forts to watch movies in.
Oh, that's a sick.
Which is amazing.
I want to do that.
M got mad and said I didn't want her there. And in a way, she was right. I was still upset about what she had said to my sister.
Then tell her that. Be like, dude, what you said to my sister was really messed up. I'm breaking up with you.
Facts right there.
Tell her exactly that.
Small things like that kept happening as we hung out with my sister more. My sister was obviously getting distant from me. She had always been a bit of a loner, but now it felt like she just couldn't be around me and M. Like I said before, my sister is home alone a lot when she's not doing extracurriculars. She cooks and cleans for herself, and while I'm glad she has learned those skills, I wish she didn't have to. But I have to go to work, I have to go to school, and now I have a girlfriend. My sister keeps pushing me to hang out with M. I think she's noticed my attitude when M is mad at me. M constantly tells me that my relationship with my sister is, quote, weird, and that we depend on each other too much.
Because he's like her literal dad, basically.
Who is this person?
You freaking suck. Use your brain.
A while ago, my sister mentioned a boy to me while M was around. My sister has never mentioned anyone like that before, so I got curious and a bit protective. But I didn't want her to feel like she couldn't be open with me, so I tried to be supportive. When my sister went to her room to study, M and I were left at the table talking, and M told me I acted weird about the boy, and that if I didn't want my sister to date, I should just marry her.
You freaking weirdo!
Yo,
you freak!
I'm nominating, the Oscars were just yesterday, I'm nominating OP's girlfriend for the Oscar for most insecure woman on planet Earth.
That's insane. How are you jealous of not only his sister, but also a child?
Literally a
Child sister.
I was disgusted and a bit angry. I made a grossed out face and asked her what she meant. She said it wasn't natural for me to be so close to my sister and that people might get the wrong idea. I told her to leave.
Yes.
And then I went to say goodnight to my sister.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent.
You kick her out. Yeah, that's what you do in that moment. About a week ago, I came home from work exhausted and just wanted to sleep. But when I opened the door, I caught M yelling at my sister in the living room. My sister was just standing there, tears streaming down her face, not defending herself. And that made me furious. Why is she here? Why is she at your apartment when you're not there yelling at your sister? What is going on?
Child sister.
What is going on?
Sister.
She pulled up to your crib to yell at your sister? What is happening?
If we hadn't broken up before, why aren't you broken up now?
She literally broke into your place to yell at your sister. Break up with her. I stepped in front of my sister and asked M what her problem was. She just started yelling about how my sister was walking around in her running shorts and one of my old t-shirts. Are you the dumbest person on the planet? This is not his girlfriend. This is his sister. You sick, twisted weirdo. Get out. Get out of my house.
She's wearing a t-shirt? Ah! No!
Your ankles are showing. I'm taking you to the town square.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. So I looked at her confused and told her she was crazy and to never speak to my sister that way. M pushed me, making my sister flinch. I still don't know why she flinched like that.
What do you mean you don't know? Because M's probably been pushing her around.
I hate both of you in this story.
You idiots.
I'm hating both of you.
Protect your sister.
Since then, I've been getting calls from M's friends and family telling me that I'm a jerk and that it's weird how protective I am of my sister. They say I always put my sister first instead of my girlfriend, but honestly, I feel like I have been putting M first at the expense of my sister, which isn't fair. I still feel bad though, and I want to know, am I the a-hole?
I think he is the a-hole because he kept...
What? I mean, in that way, yes.
Yeah, I think he's the a-hole for keeping this woman around when she's being awful to his sister.
Yeah, I would say definitely the a-hole in that context, but not in the context of being like, do I love my sister?
Yeah.
Am I an a-hole for I love my sister?
You're not the a-hole in that context.
Yeah, come on, man. But you're an a-hole for not breaking up with this trash goblin of a woman.
Exactly.
And there's an update. Let's go. Please break up. Please break up.
Please break up with her.
I have read everyone's comments, so thank you guys for helping. To give you a little more info, M and I met in February, but we started dating in April. My sister's birthday was in June, and a lot of the stuff that's happened was a month ago. I officially broke up with M about 2 weeks ago. Huzzah!
Ooh.
Which is why I've been absolutely bombarded with messages from everyone she knows. Thank you all for caring about my little sister. I talked to her about everything, and she told me that M had really gotten loud and aggressive with her a few times, but she didn't tell me because she thought I was happy. A couple of people asked why they had been alone together in the first place. The answer is that I had given M a key for emergencies, and I guess she used it to see if I was actually home.
Oh, wait. So yeah, okay. So
that's
again,
where that's why that was happening.
She broke into your house.
She broke into your house. She didn't use the key properly. She used your house key to break into your house and yell at your sister.
She literally
maybe it was an emergency.
Your sister.
Maybe it was life or unaliving.
She was like, I have to harass your sister. You don't understand.
The fate of the world is at stake. I have to make your sister cry.
She was like, I don't trust you, so I have to break into your house when you weren't there and harass your sister.
The timeline. You don't understand what happens to the timeline if I don't yell at your sister and make her cry. Robot uprising. I have apologized to my sister, and I've called off work for a while to spend more time with her. To clarify a few things, yes, my sister doesn't have many friends despite me encouraging her. She mostly sticks with me and my new friends, which is why she was so excited to meet M. Her birthday was in June, which was when they first met. but I had been dating M since early April. I was hesitant to introduce them because it had always been just me and my sister. I wanted her to get used to the idea of someone else being in our little family, but now I feel extremely bad for basically causing this. At least you're aware that you helped facilitate this.
The problem is not that you brought someone into your little family. It's that you brought this girl into your little family. And then when she showed you a bunch of red flags, you were like, well.
You're like, let me put on instead of the glasses that correct color blindness.
Yeah.
Let me put on the ones that give me color blindness. Now I can't tell what's red and what's not. Everything's beige. Let's go.
Sad beige baby.
Let's go. I'm looking into affordable therapy for my sister because I have been worried about her for a while now. With that being said, I think the new friend that she's made is actually doing her some good. Even though they've only known each other for a little while, she's already asked if she can go over to his house a couple of times. I've met his parents and the whole family seems very kind. She's my baby sister and I love her so much. I feel very guilty for allowing this to happen, but M is definitely out of the picture. I'm going to block her and everyone associated with her after I make this update, and I should have done that sooner. Thanks, you guys, for your opinions. They've genuinely helped me, and I'm not going to give my sob story about why I stayed with M because it doesn't matter. I was a coward and stuff like that is not good for my sister, so I will 100% be working on that.
Good.
There's another update here. Blah, 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 blah. First time posting, blah, 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 blah. By the way, hey, first time posting? I don't think so. First time listening, perhaps. If you want to listen to full episodes with stories like this, go to Spotify, go to iHeartRadio, go to Apple Podcasts, go to wherever you listen to podcasts and search OK Storytime. And there you will find literally a cartoonish amount of stories. Also, since a bunch of people are mentioning it, Em and I had only done the spicy tango a couple of times. I'm not a very touchy person. It just makes me uncomfortable, and there weren't many places to do stuff like that. She's got 3 roommates, and I didn't want her over at my place to do the tango because my sister was at home when I was at the time. I can't tell you why I stayed with her because honestly, I don't know why. Again, more stuff this guy doesn't know. But what's done is done, and all I can do is try to make things better for my sister. I have taken all of your suggestions, so thank you.
Props.
And that is the end of that story.
I secretly learned my girlfriend's language. We ended up breaking up.
No. That was so cute.
Yeah. My girlfriend is South African. Her native language is Afrikaans. I've been learning how to speak Afrikaans without my girlfriend knowing. I secretly applied for online courses that I've been using on and off for more than a year now. By the way, this comes from A Good Surprise Gone Bad on the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
I see you, man. I see you.
My plan was to surprise my girlfriend and her family with my American Afrikaans when I finally meet her parents in person for the first time later this year. I never intended to eavesdrop or anything, but learning Afrikaans in secret accidentally exposed me to sensitive information that my girlfriend was sharing on the phone with her Afrikaans-speaking friends from South Africa. It was gossip I was not supposed to understand, but eventually I did. This is what I've heard in the past few months. My girlfriend is planning to surprise me on my birthday by reuniting with her high school metal band and putting on a show for me. Whoa,
okay, that's
nice.
Pretty cool. That's nice.
My girlfriend wants to tattoo the names of literally all the Harry Potter spells on her back.
That's a lot of spells.
But she doesn't know how to tell me because she's afraid I'll talk her out of it. That's so funny. Both of these things are hilarious.
So far, I'm not seeing the problem yet.
Not seeing any problem. My girlfriend casually mentioned that one of the unexpected differences between her glasses and her contact lenses is that when she's on her knees looking up at me with her glasses on, my wiener looks much bigger compared to what it looks like through her contact lenses, which is why she keeps her glasses on during spicy sleep. Ouch. Dang, man.
Rough. Learning a lot of things we didn't want to know.
Learning a lot of things.
We all didn't want to know that.
Yeah, some fun, some bad.
Yeah.
My girlfriend is convinced that my parents are swingers because apparently there are always attractive couples hanging out at my mom and dad's house whenever we visit. My girlfriend secretly finished the entire series of Better Call Saul without me, even though we agreed to finish it together, So now she's pretending to have no idea how the show ends. Dude, this is crazy.
This is classic.
My girlfriend is thinking about canceling the high school middle band reunion
No.
for my birthday because she's no longer sure if it's appropriate to team up with two of her exes that are original members of the band. Dude, this is so funny.
This is so funny.
My girlfriend
man.
expects her
Wow.
dad not to like me. I would have preferred not knowing most of those things, to be honest. But there is no way for me to unlearn Afrikaans, so now I'm cursed with knowing too much while having to pretend I know nothing. Some comments. Monsters in my wardrobe says, the punishment for forbidden knowledge is knowing. LOL. Keep it a secret. And when she asks you about it, just say, I'm speaking Afrikaans the whole time. OP responds, or I'll deflect and just be like, better call Saul. Is there anything you'd like to tell me, honey, sweetheart, light of my life?
I like that OP's like focus is like, yeah,
Yeah.
been watching Better Call Saul without me.
Noon Dread says, watch Better Call Saul to the end, look at her and say, that was really good. In Afrikaans.
Ah.
That's funny. Global Cattle 6285 says, that wasn't all that bad. Honestly, thought this was going to be much worse than it was. OP responds to that, far away from CBAT and nowhere near the coconut dude lies my mild F up.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what any of that means, but if you do, tell us in the comments.
Sorry, I don't speak Afrikaans.
Yeah. But we do have an update 4 months later. The following happened since my original post. I asked my girlfriend to marry me in Afrikaans, and she said, I really hope, I don't know how to say that
Could be ja or ja.
perfectly, but basically she agreed.
She said yes in Afrikaans.
Yeah. I delivered my I want to spend the rest of my life with you speech in Afrikaans, which surprised and impressed my girlfriend, aka my fiance. As soon as my girlfriend became my fiance, I casually mentioned that I've been secretly learning her native language and accidentally been eavesdropping on several phone call conversations she had with her Afrikaans speaking friends about things I was not supposed to understand. Like, for example, her feeling conflicted about reuniting with her original high school band members for my birthday because the band apparently included two of her exes, or the fact that she wanted to tattoo literally all of the Harry Potter spells on her back, or that she finished Better Call Saul without me, or that she thought my mom and dad were swingers, or all of the reasons that we previously heard, including some of the stuff that she said to her friends after my original post, like how she was struggling to get used to my braces because the braces in my mouth plus the freckles on my face somehow made me look underaged and low-key made her feel like she's my older sister when we're out in public. My fiance was embarrassed when she realized how much Afrikaans I was able to understand and apologized if she made me feel uncomfortable. I accepted her apology, even though it wasn't necessary. Well, except for finishing Better Call Saul behind my back, that was a playing with fire moment in our relationship, almost unforgivable. My fiance got one of the Harry Potter spells on her back, Erecto Patronum. Oh, I'm kidding. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. I was
kidding.
like, I would have said something.
I
but
know. I
didn't
was
see the
like,
next line.
I stole that from another story. My fiance is still considering getting her back tattooed. I said it was her choice, but I advised her to avoid covering her entire back with Harry Potter spells, like she's some kind of Death Eater Michael Schofield. My fiance might be right about her dad not liking me because his expression of disappointment and dread when he heard the news of our engagement was priceless. That said, I'll win him over though, even if it kills him. Jokes. My fiance fully believes my parents are swingers based on the different couples she's occasionally observed coming and going whenever we visited mom and dad. She wants us to investigate my parents because for some reason it's fun for her to imagine me being the son of a mom and dad whose spicy sleep life is far more spicy than mine. I'm not interested in opening that door though because I don't want to know what goes on in my mom and dad's bedroom. However, something tells me that my fiance will not rest until she has all the answers. I made it clear to my fiance that I had no problem with her reuniting with her high school band to perform at my birthday, unless it was uncomfortable for her that her exes were a part of the band. My fiance ultimately decided to cancel the band because of behind-the-scenes drama. The drummer, who was one of the exes, apparently gained a lot of weight after high school and lost all confidence to perform in the band. Aw. The lead guitarist, aka the other ex, was only willing to participate if my fiance agreed to play covers of gospel songs since he was now saved and no longer interested in playing the devil's music. The bass guitarist wanted money.
Dang, man. That
so
band
funny.
fell apart.
Oh my gosh. My fiance still wears her glasses during spicy sleep. Edit to all the comments saying this is a repost. It's not. It's an update of my original post from a few months ago. Check my history It's my story. There are some comments. SRS Goblin says, the bass player knows what's up. Never play for free. Musicianship 101. Not So Holy Mary says, none of these things seem to be very damaging to a relationship. Your girlfriend actually seems considerate, wanting to surprise you, but not knowing if it will hurt you and worrying about how her family will like you. Could be a heck of a lot worse. And of course, never worry about the wiener thing. Not the size, but how you use it, right? Am I right? Kamikaze TM says, except that she watched all of Better Call Saul without him. That's just downright rude.
True.
Update number 2.
Ooh,
There's a second update.
Wait, there's more?
There's more.
Everything's perfect, though.
Uh-oh. Do we have any final thoughts before we move on?
I think everything's perfect.
I think everything's perfect. We should just
Yeah.
stop right here.
We should stop.
But we
I'm really
won't.
worried.
There's another update.
Oh, no.
Last time I was here, I shared an update related to my original post, but I deleted that update because I was keen to tell the internet, aka all of you, that my girlfriend and I got engaged. However, no. However, since then, we've not only gotten ourselves unengaged, but we've actually broken up. No. In my original post, my ex-girlfriend, who was still my girlfriend back then, had a wild theory that my mom and dad were swingers just because they always had people at their house. Uh-oh, this is the thing that ruined it? I never believed it, but I thought it was hilarious that someone thought my parents were that interesting. Not gonna lie, I struggled to move on after my relationship ended. My apartment had too many memories of my ex, so I called my parents to ask if I could stay with them for a bit, just to clear my head. I don't like how this is going so far.
Wait, why did you guys break up?
Well,
You just said, like, after we broke up.
yeah, I don't know. But it
We
did.
were about to get engaged. What happened?
Yeah, what happened? Please. But my parents said yes. My dad offered to pick me up, which I accepted. What should have been a 10-minute drive unexpectedly turned into a 45-minute drive because my dad decided to take the longer route back to his house. When my dad was done making dad jokes to help me get over my breakup, he started doing that weird dad thing where he's trying to bring up an awkward topic, but it's too uncomfortable for him to just spit it out, so he ends up saying a bunch of words that only he understands. I see you. I don't like where this is going. Oh boy. I was forced to interrupt my dad and basically beg him to make sense. My dad said since it was unclear how long I was going to stay, he felt compelled to prepare me for what I might see at the house. If my ex was present at that moment, she would have punched me on my shoulder and said, I effing told you, because my dad confirmed her swinger theory.
Dude.
Which no longer made it a theory, but the truth, or as I like to call it, trauma. Oh my goodness.
If you guys ended on good terms, I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine you did because it was a broken engagement, but I
Right.
would go tell her.
I would
I'd
totally.
be like, I have to tell you.
This is so random. You don't have to respond,
Yeah.
but you were freaking right.
You were freaking right. My
Dude.
parents are swingers.
Oh my gosh. By the time my dad and I finally made it to our destination, my dad made sure I knew everything I needed to know. I made a list based on what I learned from my dad. Both my parents were swingers when they met. Swinging was not something that my parents wanted to do while raising kids, so it was prohibited while my parents became parents. To see if they still got it, my parents switched back to swinging when they had the house to themselves again, and lo and behold, they still got it. Okay. Hosting swinger parties was something my parents did frequently, usually with themes. Cute. My parents were planning to host another swinger party, but my mom was leaning towards calling it off so that I could come home and stay for as long as I wanted. If my parents were forced to cancel, it would be the first party that they called off since the vid. The theme was prom night. I never expected my dad to go that hard in the too much information category. But as soon as he crossed that threshold, he got it all out of his system. I stayed with my parents for a total of 2 days before it became abundantly clear to me that knowledge might be power for some people, but for me, knowledge was effing punishment. My mom, who was unaware that I low-key knew that she was a swinger mom, attempted to convince me to stay longer, and she almost succeeded, but I was just done with my dad using our father-son bonding time to play guess which one of our neighbors are also swingers.
No.
Oh, gosh. I used an Uber to get back to my apartment. No more dad rides. I've never been so happy to return to a place that was haunted by my failed relationship. Oh, my goodness. You know what I do know? is that you can listen to full episodes with more stories just like this one. Just search OK Storytime on your favorite podcast app, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, whatever you choose. We'll be there.
We'll be there.
My ex and I broke up because of a tattoo. Her friend passed away. Oh, I'm sorry. Which promoted her to literally get his name tattooed on the back of her neck. The friend was someone my ex used to sleep with before she met me. Whoa.
Ooh.
I made it clear to her prior to the tattoo that I understood that it was her body to do with whatever she wanted. But as someone who was prepared to be with her forever, it was going to be uncomfortable for me to see another guy's name on her body for the rest of our lives, especially the name of a guy that passed away that she had a casual, spicy sleep with. My ex got the tattoo anyway. The tattoo was small and barely visible. That was her defense. I knew it was there. That was enough. It was also very effing visible in certain positions. We argued about the tattoo until we eventually said enough hurtful things that could never be unsaid. Clearly, the tattoo was worth losing me because the tattoo is still there and I'm not. Well, not much you can do about getting rid of the tattoo. When there are some comments, Second Creative says, I can't stay here. Too many sad memories. 2 days later, save me from the horrible things I now know. Sad memories. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. OP responded, I'm gladly relieved the pain of my relationship getting napalmed. Then listening to my dad make up synonyms for swingers like no monogamo. The Real Six says, don't tell your ex the no monogamo. She might add it to the list of spells she wants tattooed on her back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Relevant Reference says, how much their decor is pineapple themed. OP says, a few comments in my previous posts made me aware of the meaning behind the pineapple in the swinger community. So I've actually been on the lookout for anything that so much as remotely resembled a pineapple whenever I was with my parents. But to this day, no pineapples. That being said, based on what I know now, thanks to my father, I actually won't be surprised if my parents were literally living in a pineapple house like SpongeBob's that only other no monogamos could see. And that is the end of that story.
Man, what a turn in this
gosh.
story. My partner finally proposed, but I'm no longer interested.
Awkward.
My partner bought the ring a long time ago. He previously insisted that we had to live together to see if we were compatible before he could propose, and that he wouldn't propose otherwise. I think that's smart. By the way, this comes from Feisty8799 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I have been ready for much longer than he has, and that's not his fault, of course. But after waiting and waiting, I have gone from anxiety to hope to excitement and finally just numbness. He didn't intend for me to know, but my sister, who helped him finalize the ring out of the ones I had liked, was happy about it and couldn't keep the secret that he's proposing in just under a week. It makes sense now that he was trying to get me to take a couple of days off to go away for a mini break to the town in which we met, but I couldn't get leave approved. She noticed that I've been feeling quite low throughout the holiday season, and she thought it was because I was waiting for a proposal. But the reality is that I gave up on it a month or two ago. A month or two? I've tried to convince myself that it's what I still want, but that ship has sailed. It's quite strange to be in the process of falling out of love with him gradually.
Whoa.
He's 29 and I'm about to turn 29. I fear I'm being irrational here because in total we've been together for only 3 years, but he's been telling me for a year and a half that he will soon propose. I feel compelled to say yes now because everything is in place, but I don't feel in love with him anymore. He seems happy to talk about marriage now and has brought up marrying in autumn a bunch of times, and I wish I still felt the same joy at discussing wedding plans that I did before. Relevant Comments says, commenter 1, 3 years is nothing considering you could be spending the rest of your life with this person. Be glad you realize now. Opie says, I've only begun feeling this way when he kept saying a proposal was coming soon and didn't propose for a year and a half. And his insistence on living together when he knew it was not something I was comfortable with without being engaged. How long ago did Opie move in with her boyfriend? Was it fine for her to live with them? Opie says, only a few months ago, and I shouldn't have done it because I was not happy to. I used to share a flat with my friend and had done so for years. The only way to live together was to move into the flat that he's been renting because he lives on his own. Big mistake doing something that didn't feel right to me at all. No, it's actually been fine living with him, but living together before engagement was really something I did not want to do. But he made it a condition to get engaged after he bought the ring earlier in the year. I shouldn't have agreed to it, but I did. And that's where the resentment has come from, along with the year and a half wait. Commenter 2 says to feel that much resentment after such a rather short time, which is
Yeah.
what my opinion is a sign that you weren't right for each other anyway. Honestly, 3 years of dating and requesting to live with each other before marriage are totally reasonable at your age. I agree.
Me too.
Objectively, you are being a bit unfair here, but if you're just not feeling it anymore, so be it. It's better to end things now before the engagement. This is no base for a lifetime commitment.
I completely agree too.
Opie says, I don't think feeling resentment after waiting for a year and a half is soon at all. He said he would propose soon, and soon is not more than a few months. Certainly not over a year. I disagree with that. He should have been honest that he wasn't ready instead of dragging this for a year and a half. Opie is blaming her boyfriend for her choices, and she needs to communicate with her boyfriend about the issue, or I think some of the comments are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Opie says, I don't believe I am, especially as he wasn't communicating clearly with me on the issue until a few months ago. Sometimes you do things that you feel will work out fine, but you don't realize until later how they will make you feel. I felt pushed into making that decision because of the various conversations that we had earlier this year, in which he shared things that he should have done a long time ago.
Like what things?
Like what?
though?
Like what? Commenter 3 says 2 questions. Numbness aside, do you want to marry him? Like, take away all of the pomp and circumstance and the emotional politics around it. Do you want him to be your life partner? What the F is up with your sister? Why did she spill the beans? I get it if she knew you were checking out and felt you needed a heads up. But if she didn't know that, and it doesn't sound like she did, what she did isn't okay. Anyway, it's normal to be almost a little blue when getting engaged later than you wanted. It doesn't mean that it won't work out, unless you don't want it to. It could mean that you just need to have a good, healthy fight where you air out all of your frustration that he has held you hostage on this for so long. I still don't think it's that long. Opie says, there was a time until recently when I really wanted him to be my life partner, and I thought we were a good match, but not anymore. She was mistaken and thought that I had been feeling low because he hadn't proposed, so she was trying to cheer me up, thinking I'd be thrilled. He told her he had everything planned and ready for a proposal on our anniversary, so she thought I would be happy.
Dang, she's saying exactly when it's going to happen too?
Update. In the middle of 2023, he said he was proposing soon, but a year later, he still hadn't and finally admitted he wouldn't until we lived together, even though he had bought a ring. This was despite me asking him a couple of times what was holding things up, and he always assured me it would happen soon. After he finally shared this with me, he kept insisting I move in, even though I wasn't interested in that before an engagement. But I did because of how much I loved him, and the resentment had been slowly building up ever since. I know it's my fault for moving in, and I should have been firmer about my boundaries. He knew from very early on that I didn't want to set up a household/home with a partner without an engagement. Early in the relationship, 8 to 9 months in, he wanted me to move in, but I told him that I wouldn't do that with someone unless I was going to marry the person and was engaged. He said at that time that was okay and that he understood. So why did he say he was going to propose soon last year, knowing where we stood on this matter? Knowing he was going to propose and realizing I didn't want to marry him anymore, I told him on Saturday night that we couldn't be together anymore. He didn't take it well. He told me I had blindsided him and that he thought we both wanted a future together. He initially said he didn't know what he did wrong, and I had to explain to him that he knew we had issues regarding him always having his way, and him knowing I was uncomfortable about moving in before an engagement. The truth is, whenever we disagree, I always end up giving in. He doesn't compromise and isn't very flexible. I pointed this out to him before and he accepted that it was an issue, yet nothing changed. Now that I'm ending things, he's saying he'll work on it and it's not something to break up over. We could probably work through the resentment and improve our communication, but I don't know if I'll ever feel the same way about him again. Also, given that he kept saying he was proposing soon but waited for 18 months, I worry that he might again drag his feet when it comes to other things like having kids or even with planning the wedding. He woke up this morning, the 31st, the day he was planning to propose on as it's our anniversary, and said he couldn't believe what was happening. He said it didn't feel real because we should be getting engaged today, but instead we were in the process of breaking up. He even asked at one point if we could try again, saying our relationship had been happy for both of us and that living together we had been very compatible, irrespective of how I felt about moving in. He asked if I would consider giving the relationship another chance if we took a break from each other for some time. Again, I don't think this is a good idea. The days since I ended the relationship have been really tough, but it was the right thing to do because we are incompatible. People in my previous post mentioned that I just wanted to marry and get engaged and didn't care who to, but that's not true. My ex, whom I was with from university, was keen to marry me and brought it up soon after we started our first jobs. However, there were a range of issues in that relationship and I didn't think it would work. So after trying to resolve our issues and not being able to for a year, I had to end that relationship. If a marriage and engagement were all I wanted, I would have married him and ignored the issues. I genuinely thought my current partner, well, ex now, and I were a great match, but I suppose I was wrong. I was living in a flat with a friend, and it was ideal for me in every way. I had to find someone to take over my lease, and I did this to move in with him. Now I have to start looking for a new place again. I've already started, and fortunately, I live in a city where finding a place won't be too difficult. My friend said I should not move out in a rush since I'm paying half the rent towards this place. But the reality is that this place never felt like home because I moved in begrudgingly. Again, I know it's my fault, but I can't live in what is essentially his home if we aren't going to be together. But you can be together with us if you listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. My sister said that I should think about the fact that I'm going to be 29 and about how it might be difficult to find someone to have children with before I hit my mid-30s. But it's better to be single than in a relationship that's not right. I know that I might not meet anyone else anytime soon or at all, because you never know what life is going to bring, but that's okay. There are other things in my life that I plan to focus on, like studying for a post-grad diploma that I've been wanting to do for some time. I know we'll be fine soon as he's quite resilient, and then both of us can get on with our lives. Relevant comments. Downvoted commenter says, in this case, his hesitancy paid off because it allowed the OP to realize that they weren't compatible for reasons unrelated to proposing. He was correct not to propose. It saved a future divorce. This wasn't his intent, but the overall issue here was the OP wasn't happy with how decisions were made in the relationship. The partner was. It took years for the OP to express this. Now that she has, both can move on with their lives. In this case, the issue appears to be she didn't communicate with him the issues she was having. He was quite clear that he wanted to live with someone before getting married and proposed after a reasonable length of time after it occurred. It's good she was finally able to communicate and move on. Opie says he was not clear about this and waited a year to tell me why he wasn't proposing. And this was after earlier in the relationship when he wanted us to live together. I had told him I wouldn't live with someone unless the relationship was going to lead to marriage and I was engaged. And he said that was fine and continued the relationship. Commenter 1 says, did he need help with bills? Why did you need to move in and pay half? Opie says he didn't need help with paying the bills, but I chose to pay as I think that's fair. I would not be comfortable with him picking up the bills for both of us when we both work. Commenter 2 says he didn't fight for you. You'll meet the one. You know now what you don't want, and that's a good start, and stick to your boundaries and goals always. Opie says he's been quite difficult since that day, particularly about me leaving and looking for somewhere to live, but I don't want him to make it any more difficult by fighting for me. Just can't wait to be out of the place. Commenter 3 says he doesn't compromise and isn't very flexible. I pointed this out to him before, and he accepted that it was an issue, yet nothing changed. You are doing the right thing. Commenter 4 says, don't fall for the trap of going back to a man who is only willing to consider changing his ways. When you already have your foot out the door, he won't change, and even if he does, it will only be temporary. And that is the end of the story. My girlfriend's father refused to give me his blessing to marry her, even though we've been together for 5 years. Why you gotta be so... That's literally the plot of this song. February 11th, 2016. Carl, girlfriend's father, because Carl the llama.
Yes! Carl the llama.
Some background, we have been in a relationship for 5 years and living together for 4, and this is the best, most satisfying relationship I have had in all my life. She works in the healthcare industry, and her kindness towards those in need and less privileged than her is what drew me to ask her out in the first place. Aw, that's beautiful. In the last 4 years between us, there have been some little fights and only one big fight. By the way, this comes from Phil said no, or father-in-law said no. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, the fight happened in October 2014, 2 years before the start of this story. She planned for lunch with Carl, which I had to miss because of work-related emergency. He called me later that night saying that I don't show him the respect he deserves and I'm always trying to get out of family events because I don't want to be around him. Which is not true because half the planning and organizing on his birthday was on me, and it was a big event. In the morning, I told girlfriend about his call, and she brushed it off as him being intoxicated. The next weekend, when we went to her parents' place for family dinner, Carl was extremely hostile towards me, but I kept silent about it, until he said that I should not have missed the lunch. Every other Sunday is family dinner at her folks' place, and I rarely miss it. So I didn't think it was a big deal.
Plus, it happens every other Sunday.
Happens every other Sunday. I apologized to him and said that I would make up for it in some way. At the next dinner, I bought a bunch of smart wearable accessories for him because girlfriend suggested he was interested in them. He refused to accept the gift. And when I insisted, he walked out saying he needs some air.
When it comes to men and electronics, they need to come to their own conclusion about what electronics they need. Thus, they will buy it. My grandfather, that does not have a cell phone, found the tablet that he wanted, and he bought it because he was like, this is the right choice for me. He didn't want anyone else to get it for him because he was like, I need to make this decision.
I need to do this. There comes a time in a man's life where he needs to buy his electronics.
Yep. His own tablet.
I had no idea what was going on, and girlfriend's mom was mortified, apologizing to me over and over again for Carl's behavior. When we got home, I asked girlfriend if there's something going on that she's not telling me. At first, she tried to brush it off, but then she said that it was my fault for not seeing that her father wasn't interested in being buddies and wanted my respect, not friendship. Gross.
Okay.
This was a complete surprise to me because I never really thought of him as anything more than her father. We would just watch the game together sometime and chat about it later, but that was the extent of our social interaction. Girlfriend said I needed to earn his respect, and I told her I had done nothing wrong. That's when the fight started. But a few days later, Carl called me and said he liked the watch and other accessories. That's his way of declaring truce, I guess. After that, I was always extra careful never to miss any event with him. Last June, girlfriend's mother passed away. And it was an incredibly difficult time for everyone. I tried to be as supportive towards the whole family as I could. I cut down my work hours to spend more time with them.
Yo, don't do that. Don't do that.
And now he's going to be like, you're lazy. You're not working.
Yeah.
Girlfriend and I started cooking the family dinner at his place because she thought it would be better for him to see the house alive with people again. And we made it an every week event for a while just to spend more time with him. Multiple times we made extra effort to host family events, and once we even flew his elder sister out over for his birthday. I had thought he would warm up to me a little, but I guess I was wrong. Which brings us to today. Girlfriend is away for the week on work-related stuff, so I planned the whole proposal. I was going to decorate our apartment like a planetarium with stars and planets and write, "Will you marry me?" in the stars. Oh!
That's so cute.
It's from Friends, which she is obsessed with. I wanted to start the preparations with his blessings because that way he would feel good about me asking him first and he'd feel included also. That is like so sweet.
Wow. Good luck with this giant man baby though.
Oh yeah, he's not gonna like it. I planned a lunch with him for today to ask for his blessing. I told him how much I respect him and that I wish one day I could be as good of a father as he was. Then, when I asked for his blessing for the marriage, he blew up. He was absolutely livid, saying that her daughter deserves a better man and that he never really liked me much and had always hoped the relationship would end.
Dude, not gonna lie, this kind of happened to me.
That's so messed up.
Yeah.
Like, keep your mouth shut, man.
Like our parents did not like me at all. I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to marriage and stuff. And they sat us down and was like, are you really sure about that? You want to be a videographer and an editor? Like, do they even make much money? Yada, 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 yada. Dude, guess who she's engaged to now?
Someone poor.
Photographer / editor.
What?
Yep. That's who she's engaged to right now.
That's ridiculous.
What can I say?
He said all the butt kissing I was doing last year had shown that I just wanted to appear like a good man to girlfriend and didn't mean any of it.
Yeah.
I was so shocked because this is not how I expected it to go at all. I left him still spewing hate and went to one of my friends' places. Told him and his wife everything, but they are just as shocked as I am. I spent the day at their place and got home about 2 hours ago. Not sure how to proceed now or even what to do. Should I tell my girlfriend that her father said no? Should I proceed as if nothing has happened? For now, I'm drinking and playing video games. What should I do, Reddit? Note, I have kept a lot of details intentionally vague because my girlfriend and her siblings are active on Reddit. And there is an update.
Ooh, wait, what year was this made?
2016.
This is 2019.
And now we're jumping to 2019. So they're either married or they're not.
I say...
I love time skips.
Yeah, they gotta...
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
I don't like big time skips because I feel like you miss a lot of context.
Yeah, tell us what happened in between.
Oh, dude, when House of the Dragon did that, I was like, what?
Oh, you just mean in like shows?
But no, in life too.
Yeah. This is what happens. Bro breaks up with a girl
Yeah.
and he moves to another city. He finds himself before he moves to another city and finds a flourishing job where he has great coworkers and a great life.
And there you go.
Boom. That's what happens.
Yeah, honestly, the way that she reacted about the first time when she was like, "Why do you want to be buddies with my dad?" I feel like
No, it's just something to
I
do.
feel like she's gonna side with her dad, maybe.
Oh, yeah, of course. Because who's going to be saying, if you hear from your dad he's not a good enough person for you, you're going to believe it after a while. You're going to be like, yeah, that makes sense.
You're right, I guess.
That's what happened.
Update August 20th, 2019. I'm not sure what I will get out of this. I feel like writing it all down and having a stranger look it over might give some mental clarity. But I think at this point, there's no way to salvage our marriage.
They're married now.
I've been in a relationship with my wife for almost 9 years now, married for 2. Wow. Our relationship has been, for the most part, a fulfilling and satisfying one for the both of us. It seems like I'm making a self-congratulating post, but we've become better people by virtue of being together. I'm an old-fashioned person, so it was difficult to meet a woman who liked the things I liked and had the opinions I had. The only unsavory part of our relationship over the years had been my relationship with my father-in-law. My wife and I rarely have disagreements, so most of the major fights we've had were because of her father. I want to be clear here, I don't hate him. I respect the guy. He's sacrificed a lot in his personal life in order to provide for his family and to make sure my wife was raised with love and care. I used to look up to him in the earlier years of the relationship. He and my mother-in-law would host the family twice every week. And when I first started dating their daughter, it took me by surprise how close they were as a family. I really liked the family events with these picturesque dinners of mild conflicts and contentment, with how close my wife was with all of her siblings and her parents too. Early on in the relationship, I think I freaked out my wife by how much I enjoyed being at her parents' house. Her mother was a saint of a woman who gave me so much love from the get-go.
AKA food.
Aw, that's
Dude, her
cute.
baked goods,
Yeah,
her
but they're
lunches.
amazing. She would always make sure I was included in family activities and often reserved a seat for me at the family dinner right next to her, talking to me like I was one of her own. I remember one time I was over at their place and had to get back to the city for work. It was getting pretty late when I got up to leave and it had been snowing. She came down from her room when I was leaving with an overcoat and her husband saying I should take the coat with me just in case. But I know it was because she knew my car got cold those days. It was a POS car getting to the end of its life. She didn't want me to feel like she thought less of me just because I made less money than my wife. These little mom things she would do made me love her so much, and she passed away. We learned earlier in the story. Anyway, the reason I bring up my mother-in-law is because I think she was the reason her husband was so accepting of me at the time. She passed away 4 years ago, and it somehow changed him. I think his love meter broke or something. He started acting like I'd somehow slighted him all the time. Like one time, wife and I were bringing over some groceries and restocking everything, and I thought it would be nice to stay for the dinner and cook for him. While he was out for his evening walk, wife and I prepared a nice dinner. At dinner, he thanked my wife for most of it. She mentioned that I did most of the work for it, and he kind of looked at me and just stopped talking.
What'd you do, man?
Oh, man.
What'd you do?
Oh, man.
Did you do something? Or does he just is jealous?
He's just jealous.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And it's only $5 a month. So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
Another time in September of 2016, we were staying at his place for the weekend because we were cooking the family dinner. Every morning, wife and I were sitting on the breakfast counter just starting our day, and we thought he was out because he was usually the first one up. I hit my wife on her leg over a stupid pun or something, and I guess he saw, because he came over and started yelling at me about not being raised right and being a woman beater. Whoa!
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dude, I bet he was just like,
Yeah, just like this.
yeah, stop kicking me. He keeps kicking me.
I'm just showing what he did.
He said a lot of extremely toxic things about me before my younger sister-in-laws came into the kitchen and practically dragged him out.
There we go.
My wife repeatedly said that it was a joke, but he wouldn't accept the explanation, saying she sticks up for me. Similarly, I remember one time, this was when his wife was alive, I bought him a gift and he straight up refused to accept it in front of the whole family.
What?
My wife's mother, brother, and his family, including sister-in-law, both sisters, their husbands, and the elder sister's kid were there. It was such a humiliating experience for me. I just wanted the man to not hate me all the time. I think my mother-in-law forced him to accept the gift after a few days and made him apologize to me. After my mother-in-law passed away, he changed. It was like his filter was gone. He would stay in his room a lot, only come out for errands and walks. He wouldn't watch the games with me, saying I talk too much. He wouldn't let me fix anything at the house, despite me practically living there and having done a lot of work in the house in the past. A popular theory among my friends was that he hated me because I was too close to his wife, which sounds absurd. She was a maternal figure in my life, and I can't for the life of me understand why that would piss him off.
Because he was jealous.
Because you had a type of relationship with her.
Yeah, you probably like asked her how her day was.
Yeah.
Something he never fathomed to do.
Oh, she was nice to everyone. My wife is nice to everyone too, to the point of it being a fault. My mother-in-law used to say that she had 4 sons. Her son, 2 husbands of my wife's sisters, and me. That's so sweet. So it's not like I was inappropriately close with the woman. I've discussed this with my wife a lot, but she's always insistent that my relationship with her mother has nothing to do with it. She needs to talk to her dad. Is this like, it feels like she's not really standing up for OP at all.
Yeah.
Or at least the barest minimum.
He needs to see, I don't know, he needs to get his head fixed, because I understand your wife has passed away, but that doesn't give you the right to treat this, your son-in-law like this.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything.
He's
trying
already
to
married to your daughter.
Yeah. And he's trying to have a relationship with you, man. I don't know. One day you're going to be walking down the street being like, man, I wish somebody cared for me.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was caring for you.
You're pushing everyone away in your life who's trying to help you. My wife is the youngest daughter, so she treats her father with a lot of love and respect. Early on in our relationship, his behavior wasn't an issue, and by the time it became an issue, we were already too serious for me to break it off over this. Everyone else in her family likes me as far as I know. I've been invited over by both of her sisters at multiple times for lunches, dinners, favors, etc. Everyone treats me like I'm family. I've talked to the eldest sister about why their father hates me, but she's always maintained that he doesn't hate me. She always says he loves his youngest daughter a lot and has always been a difficult person to please. And honestly, I can see that it's true. On an average day, he's the most tolerant of me out of all of his son-in-laws. Wait, so he hates all of his son-in-laws?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Looks like it.
Yeah. But they all live in different cities or states, and wife and I live in the same neighborhood, so he gets to see me more. I'm sure a part of his resentment is because of that too. After my mother-in-law passed, we were all heartbroken. A few days after her funeral, when everyone started to leave, my wife and I were going through some of the stuff that her mother left. She started getting choked up about the fact that the house felt like it had passed with her. We decided that we were going to take on the mantle of cooking for family dinners like her mom used to do. It's a pretty big responsibility considering the family is almost never all together except maybe one holiday a year. Sometimes it would just be my father-in-law, brother-in-law, and his family, and us. It was actually really nice for a while. Everyone kept visiting once in a while, and the routine was nice. I was glad to have more time for family and not be harassed by father-in-law. It felt like he was warming up to me. I feel like there's going to be some shoes about to drop.
Low-key, I think this guy could be scared of losing his daughter.
Maybe.
That could be a possibility.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like he's scared, I guess, of maybe losing all of his daughters because
he already lost his wife. He doesn't want to lose his daughter. And
so
he
he's
has
like
some sort of
super
weird
hyper protective.
Yeah.
Honeybee85 says, does his daughter, OP's partner, look more like her mother? Maybe.
And like thinking that her being married is her being taken away or something, so he resents his son-in-laws.
Who are you reading?
Nothing. Those were my ideas.
Did Angie just send you ideas?
No.
Okay.
She's not here.
She's literally not here.
But yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah.
That whenever he gets married, that would happen.
Allie says perhaps it's the intimacy with his daughter. My cat's name is Karen, says maybe dad wanted his own sons. He didn't want to get close to the sister-in-law.
Yeah. Weird. A lot of conspiracy theories. Let's just get this guy in a room and ask what's your deal, and then we'll get the real ones.
Yeah, you need to have go up to your father-in-law and be like, dude, you've always hated me. Why?
There we go. Make it dramatic.
Yeah.
Do what Riley would do. Fight him.
Yeah, I would totally fight him.
Earn his respect.
Riley's just really introspective, guys. See? That's what she said.
He's so introspective. At that time, wife and I started talking about marriage, and it just felt right. I don't think I was ever more sure about anything than about marrying my wife at the time. There was a brief moment before the engagement where she and I got into a fight, but things worked out nicely. We got engaged in May, and it just set things in motion. My wife is the youngest child in her family, so she got a lot of positive attention from her siblings. They had kept her mother's wedding accessories for her, which honestly was such a nice thing to do. And slowly, over the months, it became this big, happy event in our family. Winter of 2016, when we got married, my wife sat me down and asked me if it would be okay to move in back with her father to take care of him. I think that was the moment where I made the stupidest decision of my life when I said yes. Yeah, I understand why you said yes, but also it's kind of hard to move in with someone who actively hates you a lot.
The chronic PP got to you.
Yeah. What?
Chronic PP.
Chronic people pleasing.
Oh.
Chronic PP.
I was blinded by love, not just for my wife, but for her family, for her mother, who I miss so much, for her father, who liked me but never really accepted me, and for her siblings, who liked me like I was their own. I just thought about what would be best for everyone else. A month after we moved in, my father-in-law asked his son if he could come stay with them for a while. Whoa. Wait, like you guys moved in? He was like, I'm out of here. You guys can stay here. I'm leaving.
That's cool. Do you have to pay still?
Yeah. Is this just your place
cool
now?
with this. Like, quiet. All right. Where's he going?
He's going to the brother-in-law's.
All right. Dope.
At the time, it felt like a good thing that he was moving past the grief of his wife's passing, but I don't think that was why he visited his son. He just wanted to get out of the house because of me.
Low-key, he might be losing it mentally, too.
A few weeks later, when he got back, his passive-aggressiveness BS started again. Oh, he just left temporarily. I thought he was moving out forever. I thought he was like, I want to stay with the other one now. You guys stay here.
This guy makes no sense.
It makes no sense. But this time, it was just constant nagging over small, petty things. I moved the chair. No, I didn't. I broke the thermostat. No, and I changed it for good measure. I forgot to put the tools back. I messed up the library. Things like that. Almost as if I'm a child who's unwanted in this house.
Oh, this feels like a movie. I don't know why. It feels like Daddy's Home 2. It feels like these two characters, blah, 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 blah. Just cut the cheese and ask him what's going on
Have
with
a
you.
beer with him and say, dude,
why do you hate me?
Why do you hate me so much? It's like the climax of the movie.
Yes.
It's like, why do you hate me so much?
Now they're like fighting back and forth. The wife's like, "Oh, you boys is nothing," but they're like,
This sounds like Footloose, like where like the dad like hates dancing and like the guy like loves to dance.
Yeah.
Facts.
May 2017, we had a huge fight, and I gave my wife a choice to either live with me or live with her father. That made her have a fight with her father, and she decided she was going to move out because, in her own words, he's never going to accept you as a son. He's delusional in grief. So we moved out, but still lived close by because both our jobs were quite close. Our moving out, however, messed up the whole family dinner tradition as her father refused to come to our place for dinners, and we couldn't afford to host the whole family in our small apartment. It became a logistic nightmare. So her brother stepped up and said he was going to do it. I think their father was really mad at me for ruining the tradition because at every single dinner I had with him, he wanted nothing to do with me. I actually liked it this way because it was nice to not be attacked or defended all the time.
Okay. I mean,
He's not talking to you, so I guess that's better.
now the characters are, they have their own way. They're like, and the other one's like, well,
Yeah, and the wife's, and then it's like a montage or something.
yeah.
But my wife started resenting me for it, and I think her younger sister and brother do too. What? You didn't do anything, man. It's been almost 2 years since we moved out. I don't attend family dinners with much regularity, maybe once a month if I'm being generous. I also got busier at work, so I've been spending less time with wife during the weekdays, which I prefer because her resentment towards me is making it a very difficult situation. She goes over to her brother's house every other weekend, and the other weekend is spent at her father's place where her brother's family and she get together for dinner. The only person on my side is my oldest sister-in-law because she thinks her father has treated me badly. She has visited us twice over the last year, and it's the only time I've gotten any affection from my in-laws. It feels like up until 2 years ago, I had a huge family who all loved me, and now I'm getting more and more lonely by the month. Oh, I can't help but feel that the marriage has changed our lives for the worse. It's been more than 2 months since my wife and I have been intimate in our bedroom, It's been a lot longer since we've had a date for ourselves. I'm at a complete loss as to what I can do to improve things.
Dude, you gotta go to the dad.
You need to
Go on a fishing trip with the dad.
literally. You need to have a conversation with everyone here.
Figure it out with the dad first. Show some progress. Then figure it out with the wife. I don't know. I have been a part of a like I dated a girl and like her family did not like me whatsoever. And I will say the dynamic in that family was super hard to be around. And it made me super sad because I'm a family guy. All right. And I seem like
He's
it.
a family guy.
But I am a family person.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to be liked by the people closest to their partner.
But I especially with the family, and now being with Angie has been fantastic. Like her parents are super fun around me. They joke with me. Like I send them updates. They talk to me back and forth. It's such a nice relationship to be around them, and I don't know. It just makes things so much easier. It's crazy. So knowing what I know now, if I was with someone and their family didn't vibe with me, I probably would be giving second thoughts. Like, I don't know if I would have gotten married 3 years ago.
No, I mean, if he said no, I would have to have a really big conversation with my fiance first.
Yeah.
Say like, hey, your dad said no. We need to, I feel like I don't want to proceed with you until we get this sorted out with him.
Yeah, exactly.
And have like a sit down conversation with both of us. This post kind of
But
grew.
like, why is she moving in with the dad? Sounding like,
Well, she's not anymore.
She was losing it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Could have heard it wrong though.
The post kind of grew when I was writing it. I had to edit some small details because I don't want my in-laws to find this post. By the way, we want you to find full episodes of stories just like this, and you can find them if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search Bokeh Storytime. There is both an update and also a whole other saga to this story.
I was like, that's
this
it?
is not over.
I was like, oh no.
It was just split into two parts.
Do we time jump again?
I don't know. We'll find out.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Bro, time jumps again. I love time jumps, especially with stories like this. Like TV series, let's not do that. But this, oh my gosh.
Boy, do I have the movie for you. Back to the Future.
Update 2019.
This guy, wait.
What?
Figure it out with the dad. Okay, go.
Yeah. Wait. Some folks have messaged me asking for an update, so I thought I could post it here instead of personal messages. I have been reading a lot of relationship help books and tried to talk to my wife many times.
Doing the inner work. Let's go.
However, the fact is she and I don't work as a couple anymore.
Ooh.
I
I have so many conspiracy theories about this too.
This is sad.
Just one? You want to give us one?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So many. So many. You just can't think of one.
So freaking many,
Oh
man.
man, that's it.
Yeah.
Guys, don't be mad at me. I just read a study about how birth control affects how relationships are. There was a study done about it. You know what I'm talking about?
In that it affects the hormones of the woman
Yeah.
or the person taking it?
Yeah. So like there was a study done with women that are on birth control and a study done with women that weren't on birth control. And the women that weren't on birth control would smell these like bags of men that would sweat in this t-shirt, and like it would be like basically they smell their pheromones, they call that pheromones. They smell the men's pheromones, and it concluded that the women that were not on birth control chose like more diverse like partners in that. But the women that were on birth control chose randomly, or people that were kind of like more similar to them, like similar DNA structures or whatever, and it looked like the birth control would like kind of alter their like perception on the partner. So I think like once people come off of birth control, they're like, they see their partner and they're like, who is this person? Like I don't smell or like have the same vibe of like the person that I thought I was with. That's kind of like what I don't know. Prove me wrong here.
No. I'm not saying that that's wrong. What is the relevancy to?
Well, another thing too is she could have maybe been on birth control when they were together and now is off it, and that might be another reason why they're so separate. Not just the dad. It was the dad stuff, and then also this one too, where she's like, we can't be a couple anymore.
That is a theory.
Because if it's just the dad stuff, you could work through it and be like, okay, dad, you're being hard. They just have an intervention.
I don't think they could work through it if she doesn't do anything, you know?
Yeah, but if they have an intervention, they could fix it. But it doesn't sound like she, one, wants to have intervention, and two, if someone says we just don't work as a couple anymore, they're dunzos.
Yeah, I agree. I think because she's not willing to
Yeah.
fight for this relationship when her father says, "Oh, you shouldn't be in this relationship."
Thank you. It's me, Nani.
Sure. I know. I don't think Riley is wrong. I just thought it's a left field theory. But perhaps the left field is where the right answers are.
Let's go.
However, the fact is she and I just don't work as a couple anymore. I am no longer a priority in her life, and I am not okay with it. So last month, I decided to talk to my lawyer and initiate divorce. It's been a really stressful time, especially from almost all of her family. But at this point, I just want to look after myself and recover myself from this relationship. Dead Bedroom subreddit have been helpful as well. I read through so many posts there, which kind of opened my eyes to the nature of my marriage. And that is the end of part 1. So we're going to get into part 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a whole part 2.
We're going to the future.
The future!
Well, technically the present, because we're going, yeah.
Dude, that's what's up.
Me and my ex-wife divorced years ago. Now she wants to meet me for lunch.
You had to spoil the broth, huh?
Wants to meet me for lunch. Well, he already was initiating it.
Dude, okay, this is my theory.
Okay. Conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory. They've gotten divorced. She realizes, I don't know, maybe her dad passed, or I don't know, maybe her dad realizes
Dad's
regrets.
out of the picture.
He's out of the picture.
Dad's
Either he regrets in
wish.
some way. Something has changed with the dad. She realizes, oh my God, my dad was the reason that this marriage was failing. I still love OP a lot. I need to go back and get him back.
Dang.
That's my theory.
Wow. I think it's something similar to that.
October 27th, 2023.
That is 4 years in the future.
That's a time jump, man.
Oh.
That is a time jump.
4 years, Shell Bell.
There's some context to why we got divorced, but it will take too long to explain here. Don't worry, we read it. By the way, this comes from Phil Said No. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So after our divorce, I lost a family and friends. I was very involved with the family on her side, and losing them all at the same time because we got divorced made things difficult for me. I am an immigrant here, so I did not have many friends outside of my ex-wife's family. And so also to, be cut off from their own family and then have this kind of accepting one that just drops you.
That's so tough. Like having one, I don't know, my dad, he's not really close with his side of the family, but him being a part of my mom's side of the family helps so much, but not having any family at all, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so sad.
During the divorce process, the COVID lockdown started, and that ended all my relationships with her side of the family. And I was really lonely here for a long time. I tried to go on dates, but the dating culture is so different now than 15 years ago. I could not find a person I wanted to spend more time with, but I think it was in part my fault too. And the one person who showed interest in long-term dating was much younger than me. I did not like her friends, and her friends were not thrilled with me either. So that relationship kind of passed in 2021. Since then, I have stopped going on dates even. And I have lost touch with some friends and acquaintances because of COVID, because of the vid, or maybe because of age and not having a wife. They're all family men now, so making time is a difficult thing. But anyway, I saw my ex-wife a few times in the last 2 years, and we exchanged some quick words about well-being, but nothing substantial. I know she lost her father due to COVID, or I know she lost her father due to vid. And I told her I was sorry for her loss because he loved her very much. She also told me she was dating a younger man and it was going well.
Okay,
now,
you don't gotta put that in there.
That's
That part.
You didn't even say that. You did not need to say that.
How do you think she met the younger guy?
Her dad?
Oh.
You said that he probably has someone better for her.
Oh, I don't think that younger man's gonna last too long.
Oh no, dude, you can't.
I think her dad's passed.
He's here for a fun time, not a long time.
However, we never sat down for tea anything. It just never happened. But 2 months ago, I got a message from her saying she wanted to meet for lunch. During this lunch, she told me her relationship of 1 year and some months was not going well, and she was thinking of breaking up with her boyfriend.
Cool. Let's talk to your friend about that.
Yeah, I would be like, oh my God. I would be like, why are you telling me this?
This is an opportunity.
Why are you telling me this?
No, this is an opportunity to get back.
No, I'd
Yes.
be like, why are you telling me this?
But
I don't
of course
wanna
you're gonna say,
know.
well, I've been seeing other people too.
Yeah, and then you say, yeah, I've seen a lot of people. Got a whole freaking roster. She and him did not agree on kids or not having kids. and she did not see a future with him. We kept in touch through the last 2 months, and 12 days ago, she broke up with him. She told me part of the reason was that after talking to me, she remembered how it was with me when we first started dating, and how it was not the same with her boyfriend. I freaking called it.
Oh.
I freaking called it, man.
You're the honey hive. She's
I
the bee.
freaking called it. Her dad passes, and then she realizes that OP and her had a pretty good relationship.
Oh, what do I do with all this pollen? I don't know where to go. I need to go back to the honey hive. That is you, my friend.
She and I have been talking a lot in the last few weeks. Since the breakup, the first thing she does after waking up every morning is message me.
My cat's name is Karen says, I hate this woman.
Yeah, she's being a little bit cray-cray. And then 2 days ago, she called at 7 in the morning saying she was at my door with some food. I had been feeling ill, but I don't remember when I told her. However, she came with a lot of home-cooked food and soups, which she knows I like. I felt like we were back in time 10 years ago. It's been a very confusing time since then. I'm not sure what I feel. I think I'm starting to love her again. She pays me so much attention, which is nice. She also keeps sending food or bringing it herself.
Because guess who else did that? Her mom.
Oh.
And that's why he was so, like, she loves me so much.
Oh. And then last night, she spent the night because I was too ill to get up and clean after myself. She spent the night. Dude. Nothing happened between us, but at the same time, I think she wants to talk about us dating again, maybe. And I will admit, all the attention and food and other gestures of love and care are starting to feel incredible. I'm not sure who to talk about this. I think I need to keep her away for a few days to be able to think clearly. But it has been so long since I have felt this good about myself. And a lot of our relationship problems were from how her father acted with me. So I kept thinking maybe we can try again and this time it will be better. Any advice or anyone wants to talk to help me think here, I would really appreciate it. And there is an update.
Dude, I'm kind of stressed. I'm stressing out here. OP, if you really want this to happen, take it slow.
Take it so slow. I'm like super stressed for you, but
Do we think he's gonna take it slow though? Do we think he's gonna take it slow?
No.
I think my advice for him is you need to have a conversation with your ex, like ASAP. Say, like, sit her down and say, hey,
Sit her down.
sit her down and say, hey, I've noticed, seems like maybe you're trying to come back into my life. Is that your intention? Because if so, either you're interested or not. If you're interested, then you say, like, I'm interested, but I want to take it really slow. I want to make sure that I'm in a good headspace, that you just broke up with someone. I don't know if you're, it was a year and a half. So
Yeah. Well, it's been 12 days since I broke up. Real quick
yeah,
poll.
12 days.
Do it or nah?
Yeah.
What's a better way to do this? Like, get together? That together's a long
Get
word.
back?
Run or nah? Well, run or stay?
Run or stay.
One is run, two is stay. I agree. I don't know. He hasn't really seen anyone recently. I think
In the 4 years, really.
in the
Like,
4 years, so he definitely has his eye on her, and that's the one that has his heart. She's gone around, not like gone around, but like she's been seeing other people, seeing if she could do it. Nothing's really working out.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, but like, how can, like, if you are with someone, how can you let their dad block you? Like, how can you let that happen?
The thing is, I don't think it's a good idea for them to get back together, but I think that he wants to. So I'm giving him advice for that scenario.
Yeah.
But there is an
A
update.
lot of people are saying run. Put 1 for run, 2 for stay.
Robert Schmidt says 2 in therapy. As for the update, it's a mixed bag. On Saturday, she came over to talk about a relationship and what we both wanted and what went wrong. She asked to speak first, and I really should have talked first instead, but I let her say her part, and it was focused on her relationship with her whole family. How important her father was to her. How much involved everyone else was in her relationship with me. She said sorry for letting her family, and her father in particular, meddle in our marriage. One of the things which hurt me a lot was when she mentioned that her ex-boyfriend never wanted to be around her family and hated going to any family events or even to a simple dinner. She said that's when she realized how much easier I had made things for her in our marriage. It was incredibly hurtful because I remember telling her in so many different ways and at many times, even before the passing of her mother, that I was okay with her family's involvement, but she needed to keep some distance between our relationship and her father in particular.
Dude, that sucks when you mention it and she finally figures it out
Yeah.
after you and someone else. She's like, oh yeah, that that probably is what I needed to do.
It's like, okay,
Why didn't you?
go figure that out. You figure it out. Go use that on someone else. She said that one time her father said something nasty directed at her ex-boyfriend, and after that time, he refused to be in the same room as him. And I told her that he was right in doing that. I reminded her of the time when her father told me, after 5 years of our relationship, that he did not want to give me his blessing for asking you to marry. I don't know why, but hearing her say that, she saw her family's behavior towards her boyfriend, and that was what helped her see how toxic they could be, was really hurtful. Yeah, I mean, that sucks for her to have to learn that on someone else and not in your marriage. Like, my feelings and my protest did not matter to her as much. I told her that, and she had tears in her eyes. Actually, I feel like maybe OP isn't going to get together. I don't know. There's a lot of left to the story, though.
It's up in the air right now.
She said sorry a lot of times about it. She said she was young and inexperienced, and at first, and then after her mother passed, she was scared of losing her father, and anything I said about him was difficult for her to hear about that. I remember one time we were hosting the family dinner, and her father said hurtful things about my cooking, and I brought it up with her and one of her siblings, and she refused to hear me even when her sister told her she should listen because I was right.
Dang. Oh man, you got don't.
Yeah, you hit Riley's one little thing. What is it, Riley? You never
Oh, you don't talk
bad
about other
mouth some
people's
cooking, yeah.
No, even if like they say something and it's like, it could be better. Like Keon at Thanksgiving, he was like, hey, just gonna be real with you. The turkey breast part of the turkey was not really good. And I was like, dude, thank you for that. But not a lot of people can take that kind of criticism. Not a lot of people can like be like, oh wow.
Yeah.
I tell it how it is.
That's just the last thing.
I just preempt it. I'm like, oh, it's not that great. And then expectations can only be raised. Anyway, when we got talking about her father, the conversation kind of got away from me. We ended up talking about him for like 2 hours. I think she wanted to get a lot of it off her chest too. It was very emotional and exhausting though, as afterwards I did not have the energy to continue talking. I really wish I had talked first because I wanted to talk to her about our problems in the bedroom as well. But we had to make food first. She was saying how much she missed cooking with me and being around each other. I guess that's another thing her ex-boyfriend did not appreciate about her.
Okay, why are we comparing so much?
Yeah, I don't, stop talking about your ex. After making lunch together, we just sat eating and talking about the few times we had some time for ourselves when we were married. She mentioned how much she liked going on 2 road trips we took together after we got married. For context, we used to have a lot more time when we first started dating as we were still studying. But then after getting jobs and having to take care of a house, it slowly diminished. After we finished lunch, I was too tired to continue our conversation, so we just kind of existed around each other for a little bit. We did talk about what we should not expect if we started dating. I told her I want to talk about our bedroom problems, but maybe not right away. She told me she wanted to say sorry for not listening to me about that too. She was a very selfish lover, and she told me it was a difficult thing for her to realize that she ignored my needs in the marriage. She said if we date again, she wanted us to see a relationship counselor together and by herself to make our dating life better. I think it's a good idea to talk to someone who can help me explain my side of things to her. I am not confident how helpful the conversation can be if it's just the two of us. She has a tendency to talk over me or to agree with me but not let me say my part. I want to talk to her about it too, but I think it's better if I wait until we've found some relationship counselor.
Nice. Okay.
Smart.
All right.
But still, I think the outcome of the conversation yesterday was good. I want to ask her out on a date tonight for maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. She went back to her house last night and I missed her presence around me a lot. I don't know if that is a good sign or if it means I'm too lonely. When she was here yesterday, she got a call from one of her siblings and she mentioned me by name. I was not listening in, but I just heard her say my name, so my ears picked up on that part. I feel like that should be a good sign too. Or maybe I'm just desperate to look for anything positive and take that as a sign. She wanted to come over today, but I told her I'm feeling much better and she doesn't need to cook for me today. Good on you, putting up boundaries.
True, Hopi.
Also, I spent the morning today looking through our old pictures together. It was nice to remember the person she used to be. I feel like yesterday I saw a little bit of that person in her. Am I wrong to want to start something so soon? I know I said previously that I would wait, but waiting for the sake of it seems pointless. I do want to take things slow because I want us to find a relationship counselor soon, but I am afraid I will lose her if I show no interest. And there is an update, but...
What's the poll again?
Run, I think.
Run.
86% run. It's just confusing. Why do you want to work on the what does she want out of this?
Yeah.
I don't understand that too. If she wants a relationship, why are we working on it now and why didn't we work on it earlier?
The thing is that I think
Her
she was,
father.
I think that her father really, had a huge sway on her understanding of the relationship. I think that she didn't like the relationship she was just in, broke up, and now she's like, reminiscing about the past and not really thinking about all the reasons that they broke up and that they did break up and divorce. Yeah. Like, it's not even just a breakup. This is a divorce.
Yeah, she didn't know what she lost until she lost it, and then she's like, "Oh, I have someone young. I have a young buck, and he sucks."
Yeah, and also the kind of frame of mind for OP to be like, "Oh, if I don't show any interest, if I go too slow, she's gonna lose interest." If she was actually serious about wanting to fix the relationship, then she wouldn't leave after a moment. She would take the time to work on it.
It seems like she can't also make her own decisions.
Yeah.
Like, she just needs her dad. She had her dad in her ear, and she's like, "I'll do whatever he says." And
Jem says, this would be a different and totally new relationship. Can't have the same thing again. It turns out bad. That's a great point.
Yikes.
That's a really great point. Like, when you get back with an ex, there has to be a talk about, like, this is not the same relationship that we had that before, because that one didn't work.
Yeah.
This is a new one.
that's on both parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
But there is an update.
Oh boy.
We got back together, but we are living separately at the moment. Yeah, don't live together immediately. That would be crazy.
I would.
Also, we started couples therapy. Great.
Oh boy.
I am hopeful about my life, and I will try my best to remember to update here at some point in the future. Anyway, here's what I wrote. My ex-wife and I have reconnected over the last few months. About 2 months ago, she brought up how she wanted to officially give it another go. So we had a long talk about it. We talked about the past, in particular the state of our marriage towards the end, and how much of it was because of my father-in-law and how much of it was instead because of her and me. She has been going to therapy about her father's death, which I did not know about before. She said she hasn't told anyone in the family either, so I am not surprised. But anyway, she talked about her relationship with him quite a lot. It was surprising to hear so much reflection from her about it. And honestly, it meant a lot to me that she decided to open up about it. She has struggled all her life about her father's shadow over her, and she acknowledged that it is a little late for the broken up marriage, as she now knows better. She brought up therapy for us as a couple again. And I told her we need to do it if we are going to start dating again. She asked if we are dating again. And I said, I asked the last time, so you have to this time. Haha. So I guess it's official. I feel like, you know what? I feel like I want to be positive. I feel like they are making the right steps to fix this.
They want to make it work out.
I want to think positively about this.
Yo,
maybe it won't
low-key,
work out, but you know what? They're adults.
forbidden love right now. And now they're like, it's such a rom-com, dude.
I think OP is taking the right steps to ensure that this isn't just gonna he's not rushing into it.
Yeah.
They're thinking about it.
True.
However, we talked about keeping separate places for a while just for the convenience of things and for giving each other space. Things are slower this time around. She hasn't told any of her siblings, and I get the feeling her family is not as close as they used to be when her parents were alive. There are no official family get-togethers events other than Christmas and Easter. Oh. I think it's better for her that her siblings are not constantly around anymore. It gives her more space to find herself in a way. But it's bittersweet feeling because I loved her parents' time of getting together as a big family every once in a while. Anyway, we decided to make it official, but I am at a loss about where the relationship is now. I keep calling her my ex-wife here, but she's also my girlfriend. So if there is a word for it, please let me know. What about my ex-wife's now girlfriend?
What about her name?
That's true.
Why can't we just call her name?
My partner. It's a new feeling, so there is familiarity in this relationship, but it is also very different than from last time. We are not so young and naive. We have found a couples therapist and have already gone for 2-3 therapy events. It is helpful to have the therapist in our conversations. It helps me talk without her talking over or agreeing, and then continuing my conversation on her own. She's getting better at listening to me. She said how she grew up having to always listen to either her father or her older siblings. She is the youngest sibling. I don't remember if I have mentioned that before. So with me, she felt like she had to talk the most. It makes sense when she explains it, But it's like I was the only one around her she could talk to, so she got into the habit of not listening as well. But we're working on it. Also, I need to be much stronger in conversations, which I'm working on as well. It feels weird to be two adult people and having to learn how to talk all over again. I will admit that I had my doubts about therapists being able to really help, but I'm really glad about being wrong. It doesn't seem like they went to a therapist when they were first, going.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's good that they're taking their
steps, talking, communicating a lot. I just want to know why the dad didn't like him. That's what I want to know.
I think he's just a bitter old man who lost his, wife and didn't know how to be a nice person.
Didn't want to lose his daughter.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Not everything is good news though, and she had to get a court order against her ex for abuse. Oh, I don't think she's in danger, but she said I should not write details about it here. Also, I am still struggling with loneliness, but I am trying to not fix it by this relationship. I also think that you guys need, it seems like you don't really, I don't know about her, but at least you don't really have a lot of friendship outside of, it doesn't seem like you've ever really had that outlet. So I think putting an effort to find friends for you and someone who's not your partner.
True.
To rely on. Yeah. I have started talking to more people at work.
There you go.
Also, some of the people here who messaged me have been really amazing. I joined a small gaming group because of a message and I'm really happy about it. There are a lot of good and kind people who wished me well, which I'm really grateful for. And after a long time in my life, I feel positive about my future at the moment. I should probably message people more often, but coming to this website is always difficult because of how many hateful messages and comments pop up. Address some things that bothered me a lot from the comments. No, my late father-in-law was not a racist person. He had a complicated life, his family struggled a lot, and so he had a very rough childhood and early adult life. He worked hard all his life to make a better home for his children. None of you know him, and the weirdly hostile comments about him are uncalled for. He's passed now, but please let him rest. He was not a perfect person, but he was a good father despite his flaws. My ex-wife was not cheating on her previous boyfriend. We were talking in messages and nothing happened. Her boyfriend was abusive towards her, and she was scared, and she needed a friendly person she knew just to talk about it. I really hope that people who have been constantly messaging me about how she's a terrible person, or worse, how we're both terrible people, are never put in an abusive situation. She was trying to survive the best way she could. And despite us both wanting to, we did not do anything while she was actually dating the ex. Everyone keeps questioning why my late father-in-law hated me. I think I might not have written some previous posts very well. He did not just hate me, he hated everyone outside of his family. That is important to know. My ex-wife has many sisters and he didn't get along with any of their husbands. I was the favorite son-in-law, but that might just be because my ex-wife is the youngest child. Also, my late mother-in-law loved me, which carried over to my late father-in-law as well. He was a difficult person to get along with, but he did not just hate me. Or at least he did not hate me the most. I don't know why he was like that, but he had a complicated life, like I said before. But you know what's not complicated? Listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime.
Boom, boom, boom.
And there is a little bit left to this story, but Sophie A says Opie should have done therapy when they split so he could recover properly. She wants kids, etc. She might not want to look around and try dating after her failed attempt with her ex.
Also, it feels like they're both going to the default. They've known each other for 9 years.
Absolutely.
My ex, I'm breaking up with my ex. Oh, I know that my other ex is there.
And is like someone safe. Someone I know.
And I know he mentions that he's not lonely and he's trying to get over the loneliness and he doesn't want to be in this relationship because of loneliness. That's the case. He's there because of he is lonely.
Yeah. I think he is there in part of loneliness, which is, I mean,
sad.
Is sad and is normal. Is normal to want to do that. I think and it seems like he is aware, but I think he just needs to be very aware and bring this up in therapy, so he doesn't rely on his wife as a person to escape loneliness. Like, no, this is like, I want to be in this relationship because I want to be in this relationship with you. Not because I'm sad or I'm lonely or I have no one else.
And that goes for anyone listening or watching.
Yeah.
Your partner should not be your main source of happiness or, fixing your loneliness. That's not how it should be.
Exactly. Absolutely. Because that's a lot for you and also a lot for the person to like a lot of baggage for that person.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just like always your partner should never be your, the only person that you're
Yeah,
hanging
you
out
need a
with.
support group. I mean,
Yeah.
that should be your priority and
Absolutely. Yeah. Priority
like
is different
top first one.
than only person you're hanging out
You
with.
need a support group.
Yeah. Shell Bell says the fact that he was treated the best out of all the sister-in-laws says something too. Yeah. I mean, his father-in-law hated everyone, but he hated OP the least.
I guess.
You take what you can get.
Goodness gracious, dude.
Do you have any final thoughts, Riley? That will take 5 minutes.
No, we're already at like 7 minutes. You can just finish it.
Well, to say a final thought.
I already did.
Keon, do you have any final thoughts?
No thoughts. Just keep doing what you're doing, OP. Honestly, the therapy's great. This was a pretty good ending to a story. Like we all
This
thought.
was
We
the
all
course
said
of
run,
like
but
freaking 4 years, man. Or actually even longer than that.
yeah, way longer. Yeah.
However, a lot of comments and even more messages from that time are really hostile towards my ex-wife in particular. I don't want to address these messages because these people don't need any more fuel for their hate. But please remember that the people you're reading about are real people, not just stories on your posts. And that is the end of that story.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, that was one heck of a
Saga.
goodness gracious.
Yeah. I think Lisa Marie says now it's negative, but sadly I think 12 months down the line or 6 months after they move in together, it will end again.
You think so?
I don't know. I think that they're taking the right I'm hopeful. I'm actually pretty hopeful about this because I think that they are taking the right steps.
Yeah.
I think, of course, there's always a chance that this could not work out, but I think that's true of any relationship.
They could be taking the right steps. I don't have all the answers. One, why did the dad hate OP? Two, why did she, I mean, I understand why she gave up, but why does she all of a sudden want to get back with OP?
Because I think she's taken 4 years and she's been in a relationship that wasn't great. And I'm sure it's, I'm sure there is some bias or there is something of
There's just like this,
seeing that this AOP is safe.
there's this big elephant in the room no one's talking about, and I don't know what it looks like or really what it is, but we're not addressing it head on.
Well, I think that's what therapy's for. Lisa Marie says they're taking the right steps, but he is too lonely and will make her his world, and she is using him as a safety net after an abusive relationship. And I think that's a possibility, but I think that if they go to therapy and they put in the work and stuff and have these conversations,
Probably have it work out.
because they didn't have that before. It seems like OP was pretty kind of either didn't believe in therapy or just like hesitant about it,
Yeah.
and now is a little bit more, okay with doing it.
Yeah.
I think a good relationship is having a good relationship with your partner, having a good relationship with yourself, and having a good relationship with your broader support system.
True. My fiance wants to end our relationship because I chose another man first.
I mean, that sounds about right. It seems like a relationship would end.
I'm sorry if this whole thing sounds a little rushed, but my fiance Ryan, who I've been with for 7 years, told me today that he's not sure whether he wants to be with me anymore. And I realized it may sound stupid, but I love him so much. It feels like my world is falling apart around me, and I don't know what I can do. By the way, this comes from Throwaway98 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So this all started a couple of days ago when we were celebrating our anniversary. We invited a bunch of people, including one of my closest friends, Ellie. She noticed my fiance being affectionate towards me and made some stupid comment about how she told me so, that Ryan would be better for me than my ex, Andy. My fiance was a little confused and asked Ellie what she meant. Back when I was in college, Andy and Ryan both asked me out to the same event. I know Ryan since high school and we'd always had a thing, but we weren't a couple. On top of that, we went to another college that was half an hour away from me. Andy went to my college. His dorm was 5-minute walk away, and he was someone completely new. I began to feel like my relationship with Ryan wouldn't be exciting enough because we already knew almost everything about each other, with the added headache of being half an hour away from each other. Despite Ellie's prospects, I decided to go with Andy. I know my reasoning is stupid, but I never thought that this decision had the potential to blow up in my future. Ryan was already hurt that I declined his request to go on a date. I didn't want to make him feel worse by telling him I was going with someone else. Not that it mattered because he stopped talking to me for about 6 months. During this time, it became obvious that me and Andy weren't right for each other. So we ended it. When Ryan and I began talking again, I realized how much I missed him. Now he was perfect for me, so I asked him out. I was overjoyed, and that's how we got to this point. For the rest of the party, I could tell that his mood was off. He kept pulling away from my kisses and touches and responding to me with one-sentence answers. After the party, when I asked him what was wrong, he just said he felt sick. The next 2 days, he continued to be cold and distant. I had no idea what was happening, so I waited patiently for him to become comfortable enough to talk to me. Today, he told me the reason he'd been acting off. From the story, it sounded like I had kept him as my backup or plan B in case my relationship with Andy failed, and that it was essentially messed up since we'd obviously had feelings for each other a long time before then. He also said that he deserved to be someone's first choice. I thought that this was just an insecurity that we could get through, but then he went to say that he's not sure whether he can see our relationship in the same light anymore, so it might be best if we split up. I pleaded with him that we don't need to take it that far and that we should just go to counseling or even just live separately for a few days.
There you go.
While he wants to think about whether this is what he actually wants. So far, he hasn't said anything except that he absolutely refuses to go to therapy. I can tell that this is weighing on him heavily because he's been drinking more than usual, and I don't know what to say to make him feel better. We've had a beautiful relationship. He's never been overly jealous or possessive, and although neither of us are perfect, I couldn't ask for a more loving, respectful, intelligent, and charming soon-to-be husband. I don't understand how all of that could come to an end for a foolish mistake I made 7 years ago. I don't know what exactly I'm looking for by posting on here, but if anyone has any advice, please let me know. Edit. I think I may have messed up on my wording. He doesn't care that I dated someone else before him. It bothers him that I had the choice between him or Andy, and I chose Andy. We got an update.
I mean, you're right, OP.
Yeah.
This is just...
But I see 2 red flags, man.
In
Maybe
who?
he's hurt right now. This is how he usually copes. But after a few days, if he's still saying no to therapy, he's still going to the bottle.
Yeah, that's hard because this just seems like it's just a rough time for him in general, not because of this situation.
Think more's going on?
What did you say?
Do you think more is going on?
I think more is going on because, I mean, if he's been turned into the bottle recently anyway, because it doesn't seem like it's just because of this. Like, it's just been, he's been drinking more lately in general. And if he's been doing that, something's going on. And then he's obviously, whatever this is affecting his security and his self-confidence in himself. And then because of that, all of that like priming, then it's like, this is now a bigger deal than it needs to be because of, you know what I mean?
Agreed. After what had happened in the last post, he said that we should put off the wedding while we decide on how to proceed. That means something, right? He used the exact words put off instead of cancel, and while we'll decide how to proceed. I think that means he still hasn't decided that we should break up yet. Maybe he'll just decide not to marry, but to continue our relationship. I don't think he's ready to give up on a relationship yet, but he's moved to a hotel. I know some people have told him to give him some space, but I've decided that if a part of him is willing to stay with me, I'm going to do everything I can to give him another chance. I've been dropping off food, leaving notes under his door, and while we've been calling every day, sometimes twice a day. Right now, we're both stuck in limbo. Most of the time, we talk about how much we miss each other, the plans we had, and me convincing him that he's my soulmate, and that regardless of whatever happened with Andy, I know we would have ended up together. Then there's moments where he calls in the middle of the night, having obviously been crying, asking questions like, what did he have that I didn't? Do you love him? Was he better in bed? Was he better looking than me? Do you still think he's better than me? What does more exciting mean? Do you wish he gave you another chance? He says that he wants to be with me desperately, but when he thinks about me, but it's into his mind that I was always his first choice, he will always have been my second. It hurts him that we had feelings for each other all the way through high school, but the moment I met Andy, none of that meant anything anymore, which must have meant I thought Andy was worth my time and he wasn't. It breaks my heart to hear him holding back his tears and trying to cry silently, but I swear I'll do anything to save a relationship, and that part of that means not hiding anything from him. I've begged him to reconsider going to therapy, but he absolutely won't budge. Some of our mutual friends are saying that they're not sure if he'll recover from this, but I don't care. He hasn't told me to stop trying, so I'm not going to. I wish to God that I could go back and change the past because I love him more than anything, including myself. It feels like I'm in some sort of surreal nightmare. Less than a month ago, we were lying in bed, fighting over which one of us got to name our kids, and now a seemingly insignificant mistake that I made 7 years ago might wipe away the beautiful future I want with Ryan. All I can do right now is be there and hope he can give me another chance, but I don't know what he's thinking. I know this isn't a common relationship problem, but if anyone has anything they can give me, whether it's advice or reassurance that things are going to work out, please tell me. Edit. He called me an hour ago and some of his friends found this Reddit post and showed it to him. So he's called angry, asking why I would tell strangers about our personal problems. Now, is he supposed to face his friends and family? Now, after they all know that the only reason I'm with him is because Andy broke up with me, after reading the comments, he's realized that it wasn't right for him to keep me in the dark for so long without making a decision. He's decided that we should go our separate ways so that I can decide whether it's really him that I want to be with and that he wasn't just the convenient choice. For now, I can't describe how I'm feeling. It's like I'm so tired, I just want to go to sleep forever. I know some of you have the impression that he's a horrible man. This was a small fragment of our relationship, and it doesn't reflect who he is as an individual in the slightest. He's the guy who spent days learning about my major on top of his own studies so he could help me study for exams and proofread my coursework. He spent thousands of his own hard-earned money to give my parents their dream vacation to Australia and insisted that I say I paid for it because they feel bad for taking money from him. When my ex threatened to leak nudos that I'd send him when we were together, I was terrified that he would leave. He took me out of my favorite restaurant and said that there was nothing anyone could do or say that would ever affect how much he loves me and that he asked to marry him so I'd never have to worry about him leaving ever again. My fiance is the best man I've ever known, and the assumption that everyone has made from hearing about how such a small part of our lives is just disgusting. And I didn't come here for people to convince me that he's immature, insecure, or any of that. I should have known better than to post here, but I can hope for now that he sees this. And we got a little note to the fiance.
Okay.
But I think she's trying to save herself right now. I don't know. I get that like all the other parts of your relationship probably being best, but this is kind of concerning.
I think it can be concerning, but I don't think it's breakup worthy.
It's not breakup worthy, no.
Yeah, I don't think it's, which I think all the
If it was
commenters were
breakup
probably
worthy,
suggesting.
It would be for OP's sake.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that it needs to go that far at all. I think in 7 years, you're gonna have problems, right? And I think there will probably it makes sense that there would be times where someone is feeling really insecure.
Yeah,
that just happens. That's so human, and especially like after a long relationship like that, like I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes normal for you to like not have to say all of these reassurances all the time because like like you're getting married, you know what I mean? So like maybe you don't say it and verbalize it as much, and maybe that's getting to him at a certain point and then he just needs it a little more. I think that's totally fine, and I think this is just one of those moments. It just kind of dipped a little bit, but I don't think this is breakup worthy at all.
Absolutely not. To my fiance, I don't know what I can say to make this better, and I don't know if you'll be able to heal from this. What I can say though, that you were wrong in thinking that I chose you out of convenience. I chose you because you are the most thoughtful, handsome, intelligent, and charming man I've ever known. Every single moment that we had together for the last 7 years, every kiss that we shared, every bagel that we split, and every I love you that I've said was meant for you and was an affirmation that you are and always will be my first choice.
Aww.
I don't believe that you want to cut our lives together short. I think you were trying to heal from the consequence of a mistake that I made, and then I advertently set a fire underneath you by forcing you to come to a decision by making this post. Take as long as you need to do whatever it is that you need to do to heal from this, and I'll be there awaiting for you when you're ready to talk. If you decide that it is something that we cannot overcome, I would accept your decision, but I know we are stronger than this. I love you so much. We got a second edit. I know this is starting to get really long, but he read my open letter and got in contact with me to say that he's not promising anything except that he'll listen. He still refused to see a therapist because he doesn't view our relationship as strong that there's anything to salvage right now. However, some people here have expressed that they wish they could give him advice directly and that I've convinced him to talk to others who have experienced this and healed from it. Update 2. Before I get into the update, I want to say that I asked my ex-fiance before posting this and he said it's fine as long as I don't give away any details that could reveal us to more of our family and friends.
Ex-fiance.
I've always been the type of person who values other people's input when it comes to making big decisions, and he knows that. A lot has happened since the last update. After we spoke, he went completely quiet for around 2 weeks for time to think. The waiting was almost unbearable, but he promised that as soon as he had an answer for me, he would contact me. I wasn't allowed to come to his hotel to drop off food, to try to see him, or any sort of contact. When he finally called, the first first thing that he established was that our relationship was over.
Oh, man.
However, despite our relationship ending, he still wants to be with me.
What?
I still want to be with him. We can restart our relationship completely from the beginning with the board wiped clean. In his own words, while you look back at our relationship and see something wonderful, I look back at it in disgust because you lied by omission every single day. Initially, I was ready to agree on the spot, but he insisted that I take a week to decide whether I want this. His logic, that is, if I choose to restart our relationship from the beginning, he would be my first choice. Later in the week, it began to settle what this would mean. I would go from fiance back to girlfriend. I don't know when he is going to propose again. I don't want children until we are married, so I don't know how long that is going to be. In short, it would completely throw off the life plans we had. I'd ask for a little bit more time. He doesn't want to resent me in the future, so we've agreed to give me as much time as I needed to come to a decision. This is a better outcome than I expected and maybe better than I deserve, but I would be lying if I said I don't wish things could go back normal. I've decided that I'm going to agree to starting over. It just really hurts that the past 7 years doesn't mean anything anymore. Not long ago, we decided to celebrate our 7th anniversary, but this time next year, we'll be celebrating our 1st anniversary, and then people will be like, oh, we've been together for a year, and then you have to explain to everyone in the comments why this is.
Yeah.
Edit. He read the post and wanted to address some of the comments. If we do restart a relationship, he won't hold anything over my head. Oh, how great. It'll be exactly as he said, and our relationship would start over completely. He is so confident of this that he insists I leave him if he ever splits up, brings it up if we argue. Some people said that being first is an arbitrary construct that doesn't mean anything. Marriage is a construct. Monogamy is a construct. Something being a construct doesn't make it any less real or capable of inflicting pain. A reminder that this isn't about me dating people before him. He doesn't care about that. He cares that I knew him for years and that we had a bond in high school and that we've waited when we were in college so we could officially be a couple, but I picked someone else I barely knew. It's come up very often that the length of our relationship should have some influence over his decisions. He says it does because it makes it even worse. I never told him about what happened during those 6 months while we were together. On top of that, I wasn't the one to tell him in the end. We know everything about each other, so he can only assume that I constantly hid it from him. And we'll never hide that we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Where do we go live, Angie?
We go live on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitch. All you have to do is just tap the profile.
Tippity tap tap at 3 p.m. PST. I'm not insecure, fragile, or irrational. The fact is that our old relationship is now ruined in my eyes.
Silly.
It's ruined because she took away my ability to make an informed decision 7 years ago. If I had known the circumstances of her return, I'm not afraid to say that I would have told her to go F herself. Now I'm giving her the option to restart our relationship with me knowing all the facts. This time we'll be equals. And that's the end of that. Dude, run.
Hated that end.
It's going to be,
Oh my
it's going to be
gosh.
so emotionally exhausting, and
Yeah.
you guys are going to have to divorce. This is
Yeah.
crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
If you're literally saying that, like, if you're telling your partner that, like, oh, back then I would have told you to F off and it was not a big deal at all, that's the end of that story.
My boyfriend's ex showed up years later to tell him he had secret twins.
Why are we keeping baby secret?
Well, maybe the babies were invisible. We'll find out soon. We have been together for just over 4 years, so this must have happened just before we got together, or else we would have had to have an entirely different conversation. I'm still working on finding out the exact dates of when all of this took place, but I got a message from a woman yesterday claiming to be the mother of a set of twins that she says are from my boyfriend. Of course.
Ooh.
Very, ooh.
Proof?
Ooh. Proof. Now,
Proof.
Poof.
of course, I had a ton of questions before I would believe her. So this is what I found out from her. By the way, this comes from user ZSEI Zisoy. And if you want to submit your own stories,
You
go to
just
the
summoned a
OK
demon.
Storytime subreddit.
Someone's got spawned somewhere.
I did not mean to summon whatever creature I summoned. So, here's the information. Tammy and my boyfriend Eric met in 2009 and started casually dating. They were never exclusive. She said that she told Eric that her birth control wasn't working for her and she'd stopped taking it, but Eric still wanted to not use protection.
You're
They
stupid.
broke up a week later, and then she found out she was pregnant a month later. Use protection.
That's how that works.
And that's why we use protection.
Learning lesson of the day.
Yeah, of all of these stories.
Yeah, out of all these stories is, guys, use protection when you don't want kids.
Don't want secret twins? Use protection. She says that they ended on terrible terms, quote unquote, and she didn't think it would be in the best interest of the children to have him in their life. She made it sound as if she was afraid of him. She thought she could do this on her own, and until a month ago, she was doing all right. She was living with her mother and working full-time as well, and taking night classes to finish school. Then her mother passed away, and she got laid off. Now she's homeless and has nowhere else to turn to. Holy crap. That's a rough hand. She sent me pictures of the two girls, and holy crap, they look just like Eric. I don't know if that is my mind playing tricks on me, but he is from the Philippines.
Philippines!
Filipino boy spotted.
Philippines! We got mentioned, baby.
And has a very, very distinguished face that is very unique.
That's just all, we all look alike. Just this.
I'm
It's this.
wondering if OP's just like, they look exactly like him. And it's just like, those are just Filipino people?
Those literally, like all Filipinos are like, you could be cousin, you could be brother, mother, father. We all,
That's right, folks.
it's crazy.
That's right. They are the spitting image of Eric. I have set up a breakfast between me and her for tomorrow morning. The only reason I'm holding this information from Eric right now is because just last week we had the kids talk. We are both completely in agreement that we never want kids. I almost feel like I need to scope out this woman before I tell him. He gets very stressed and upset about things very quickly, and this is a situation that will put him over the edge. He also has a giant presentation in front of the board of advisors at his work tomorrow, and he's already throwing up at just the thought of how nervous he is.
That's fair to not tell. Because I was going to say, you should tell him, but like, maybe wait until after the presentation.
Just a little bit of good timing.
Yeah.
Yes. What am I dealing with here, Reddit? I know I have to tell my boyfriend, but then what? What are questions I need to ask this woman when I see her tomorrow?
Do you have proof?
Right? Where's the proof? Give me the pudding. How do I keep this civil? I don't know what it means when she says they ended on bad terms. Eric is the sweetest man I know, and I can't see him ever being a person who would scare someone so much that they are keeping his kids from him. I know the first thing we have to do is get a paternity test, but I'm already trying to plan for after that because they look so much like him. This is the man I want to spend the rest of my life with. If these kids are really his, then I will welcome them with open arms. But what would that mean? I can see this getting extremely ugly extremely quickly. Please help me hold this together as best as I can. And edit, even with the first few comments, I can see that I need to tell Eric about this now. I have called him and asked that he come straight home from work to talk about it.
Wait, no. He has a presentation.
Yeah, I have probably freaked him out. But I don't want to do this over the phone, and he hardly has a second for a phone call at work anyways. We'll keep updating after talking to him. No.
Wait until after his presentation is tomorrow. Just wait a day.
You listened to the wrong comment.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Dude, wait a day.
Maybe some of the comments were good. We have some comments here.
Let's find
Maybe
out.
some of them were good. I would have waited as well. Not very long.
He's throwing up from the presentation?
Just
wait a day.
Or maybe it's the opposite effect. Maybe now
Maybe
he's like,
he's
I'm
like, I'm
done
so
throwing up
yeah,
about
it's
the
like-
board of advisors.
She's like, the presentation means nothing
Yeah.
now that I'm worried about my kids.
And a lot of times when you get that nonchalant, nothing to lose energy, that's when you crush stuff the hardest.
Like, hey guys,
He's like, hey guys, I'm actually way too
He's
busy
like,
thinking about my secret
"Hey,
twins
guys,
that I didn't know about.
I got 2 kids.
Yeah, here we go. I just woke up, found out I had 2 kids who were 5 years old.
Yeah.
So
you want to hear about
here's the presentation.
stocks? I don't know.
I gotta go.
What
though.
do we even do at this job?
Everybody pay attention because I got things to do. Comment number 1. This is fishy. Why would she message you and not Eric? How does she know you're his girlfriend? OP says, I did ask her this. She said that she has either blocked him or he blocked her on social media, which makes me assume that he blocked her because she could just unblock him. She also said she doesn't have his phone number and that he wasn't listed. He is listed, so she just didn't try hard enough. Her weird answers just make me assume that she's either scared of him or she knows she effed up in some way and that he won't want to talk to her. So I was the next best option. Reply, how did she know you were his girlfriend, though? That is my main question. The big question is she stalking him? You need to talk to him. OP, dang, I didn't even think about that. On her Facebook, it says that she lives a few towns away from us, probably like a 2-hour drive or so. He has also moved away from the town where he dated her, which is a 7-hour plane flight from us. So she obviously picked her location because of where he is. Reply, you need to tell your boyfriend ASAP. Do not go to the meeting. See what he has to say about her first.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Don't go to the meeting with this stranger.
Right. If he has any reasons to believe the kids might be his, you need to contact a lawyer immediately. OP says, I've called him and said he needs to come home right after work to talk. So we should know in a few hours, and then I will see what he wants to do about the meeting. Luckily, I have an amazing lawyer who can help us if we need it. And there's a second comment, but first of all, I just want to say, could you have maybe told him in a way that didn't sound so stressful?
Yeah, it didn't sound like you were breaking up with him.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, this is
maybe
what
they
I would
did.
have done.
He's Filipino. He's used to it. He loves the drama. We love drama, dude.
If we're doing like day of, well, first of all, I wouldn't have done a day of. I would have done it post presentation. But if we're doing a day of, I'm not going to text him middle of the work day so that he's stressing out about it. I'm
Yeah.
texting him like 30 minutes before work's over. Hey, come over right after you finish work. I just found out some serious news. Need to talk about it with you.
You could probably reassure enough to be like, it's not really.
No one's injured. No one's hurt.
It's not necessarily an emergency. It's just very important.
Yeah.
And I love you.
And I love you. We're good. Kisses. I'm making lasagna tonight.
Take notes, folks.
Dude, I'm thinking about this.
Garfield lasagna over here.
I made a vegan lasagna like 10 years ago, and it was so good.
Wow.
It had Kite Hill ricotta cheese in it.
Imagine how good it would taste now that it's been fermented for 10 years. Like a wine.
Okay,
Like a
keep
fine
going.
wine. Lasagna wine. Comment number 2. My guess is he's never even met this woman, and she's attempting to scam you.
Yeah, did she Photoshop the children?
Yeah, so the children Photoshop. Like they're literally your husband. You're like, they look
Yeah.
just like him.
She's like,
It's just his
twins.
head. Like slightly edited.
Oh, she did the thing where you can combine your face with someone else's to make your kids.
Yeah, she just did a straight up
Yeah.
Facebook scam. She probably emails a ton of people on Facebook, simply looking up their boyfriend's name and claims she's the mother of the boyfriend's kids. And anyone who responds back, she gives the same story to. For real. The other day on here, someone had a post saying, wow, a long-lost sibling contacted me, and it turned out to be a scammer. The person never had a long-lost sibling. The scammer just used that lie to get people to talk to him or her and eventually steal their personal information or something, I guess, to get them to send them money. Definitely don't meet with her in person, and I hope to goodness that you didn't give her any personal information already via email communications. Comment 3 says, ask for a sample of DNA. Resemblance is not enough. And there's an update here.
I need to know. I think it's a scam. I don't think these kids are his, or if the kids exist at all.
I'm going to take the other side of that.
Ooh.
I'm going to say it's real.
Ooh.
I'm going to say this is
All right.
real. And that
See who wins.
maybe in his youth, 5 years ago,
Little.
Eric used to be a little...
Here gets loser lasagna.
Stop saying lasagna in front of Sophia. Lasagna is her trigger word right now.
Lasagna.
Every time we say lasagna, she gets hungrier.
You said it more than I have.
I won't say lasagna a single more time than this time. Lasagna. Let's go. Update. I am so sorry it has taken me a while to update. I had a bunch of messages asking what had happened, so here it is. My boyfriend came home from work around 5 p.m. I showed him all of the messages from the woman claiming to be the mother of his kids, and he didn't say a word the whole time. He ignored all of my questions. Then he went to make a phone call, leaving me pissed off and questioning in the other room for a half hour. When he came out, he sat me down and told me this story. Tammy is Eric's sister.
What? That's why they look like him. They're his nibblings.
They are technically relatives.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Why is she claiming to have dated him?
I don't know. Let's find out. Everything she told me about them being in a relationship was a lie. When Tammy was 16, she got involved with a guy who was part of a
club.
A cool club, a GANG, and things went downhill from there. She left home when she was 19 by storming out of the house when she was told she needed to get a job. They hadn't seen her since. I actually know that story a little bit because Eric told me that he has an estranged sister, but his family never talks about her. I asked about her once at Christmas, and Eric's mother told me to shut up,
Oh,
so I've never brought it up.
okay. That's rude. I'm sorry. You were like, oh, I heard you had a sister.
Shut up! Shut up! don't talk about her. We don't talk about her. And I feel like that's comes from a place of like, that's my mistake. Don't you bring up the mistake that I made in front of. Don't bring up my shame, which is not great. The person Eric called was his brother. I guess the brother had heard about her having children somehow and had spent a year back in 2012 searching for her. The last he heard, she was homeless with the girls living with their father. So after all of that, I contacted Tammy again, asking if it would be okay for Eric to join us for breakfast because he wants to help her. She asked if I had told him about her, and I said yes, and that I know she's his sister. I also made sure to let her know that I'm not angry that she lied, and I just want to help in any way I can. Eric, Eric's brother Jason, Tammy, and I had met up with her the next morning out in front of a cafe, and we all decided to go somewhere else because of how nervous she was. So we went to a park. She was not in good shape. The left side of her face had what looked like burns on it, and she had a welt on her cheekbone. She said that she was trying to get sober when she got pregnant. She was in AA and had managed to get a job at Burger King. She met a guy who seemed to have his life together, owned a house, decent job. He got her pregnant. When she had her twins, the father had taken complete control of everything. He became violent towards her and would not let her out of the house. He kept track of all of her activities by monitoring the computer and her cell phone, which was only allowed to be used to call him. He paid for everything and made sure that she would be completely lost if she left him. That's like the most nefarious kind of abuse. I hate that. Where it's just like, just the ISO, and then it's like, yeah, and now you're stuck here because if you leave, you'll have nothing and you'll be helpless. It's like, ooh, we gotta be independent. We gotta
like
develop our skills.
really tragic to have to or believe that you have to lie, like literally kind of scam your family members into helping you because you feel like, you know, there's no other way out. That's
Yeah, this is a pretty tragic one. There was another incident, and that night she snuck the girls out of the house. She didn't think the family would take her back after everything that happened, so she slept in an abandoned building near a library so she could use the internet. She found me when she found pictures of me and Eric on Facebook and sent me the message. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. Just search OK Storytime, and there you will find us. There is a little bit more story left here.
well, it seems like she's getting the help that she needs.
There had to, yes, at this point now, and I feel like the family's probably going to be receptive to assisting her. Not the mom, but it's like clearly whatever happened in her youth was like very intense.
It does not deserve to be abandoned in this moment. Yeah.
No.
Oh, wow. Like, truly just went from, I mean, I'm sure there were people in the comments saying, oh, it's a scam. Like it's a scam or something.
Yeah.
Thank God. Hope he like followed up on this. Because wow, like, you know, if she hadn't. Scary.
Yeah, charges need to be pressed against that guy, or like claims need to be made. He cannot be allowed around those kids.
Angela Connolly says, where are the kids now? I believe they're with their mother.
Yeah, kids need to be helped. They are blameless.
Nina Nilsson says, unbelievably brave of her to reach out, even if she did kind of scam. I mean,
given the context. Yeah.
Anissa Julia says, so does that mean both of you guys were right?
I guess so. I guess so.
You know what that means?
Lasagna. That was cruel. That was brutal. It's all right. You're almost there. Let's finish this story. I have no idea why she lied. Well, we do.
Yeah.
It seems to me that she is not completely adjusted and may have some mental problems. We've contacted the authorities, and her a-hole boyfriend has been arrested. Let's go. Thank you.
Woo!
Eric's family was amazingly forgiving and has invited Tammy and the twins to live with Eric's parents until she can figure something out. Thank God. That's a perfect... The story's not perfect, but that's the perfect way.
Yeah.
That was the best situation for Tammy and the kids.
Here.
Thank you all so much for your replies and for convincing me to get Eric involved as soon as possible.
Yeah. Okay. I guess you guys were honestly. I still think it would have been fine if You reached out after the presentation, but
Who
I
knows?
guess given the circumstances, it was good that you just followed up quickly.
It's a game time decision. Sometimes you get a gut feeling. Sometimes you get told by people on the internet what
Yeah.
to do. And sometimes you take it all into account and you realize you got to do something.
Gotta do it.
And hopefully Tammy will get the help she needs. And we are hopefully going to do our best to keep her daughters away from their father. And that is the end of that story.
Wow, what a crazy tale.
You never know what kind of craziness is coming at you sometimes. That one was, I would never have expected that, but it seemed like
I mean, every
after-
turn was so surprising.
Well, after OP explained, it felt like Eric knew exactly what.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Reunited a family.
What?
It was like reuniting a family.
I mean, honestly, because she was kind of estranged this whole time, and
Yeah.
but that is the end of that.
I used to sleep with my ex-best friend's husband, and she didn't invite me to their wedding.
Ooh,
I mean,
kind of fair.
Makes sense.
Little bit fair, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's hear more.
This story is going back a little bit, but strap in for quite the tale because I'm still in shock that I lived through some moments of this. I, 32 female, moved around a bit in my childhood around the world, but I'd say bulk of the time I was in England. By the way, this comes from Miss Bizzle1 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So while I was in junior school, one of my friend's cousin, let's call him Jeff, took like an interest in me, I guess, and started being my friend, and that was okay because, we were just kids on the playground playing. He was 3 years older than me at the time, but I didn't think anything of it. Jeff went on to high school, and I was living my best kid life for another 3 years. We then go to high school, and I was super happy because I had found my first boyfriend. Let's call him Aaron, and he was in my class. Jeff was also in the same school, but of course 3 years above us. He would see us at break times or see me hanging out with my friends and always make it a point to come over and talk to me. When I started dating Aaron, he took a particular interest in this relationship and was always saying things like, "Have you guys kissed yet? Oh, you've just hugged. That's lame."
Okay, you're 3 years older than them.
Right, calm down. Let them
Weirdo.
live. This made me feel a little bit pressured, but we didn't really give into it because we were only 13 at the time. Yeah, that's pretty young. Anyway, unfortunately, the relationship came to an end because I left the country with my family. I moved across the world. Fast forward quite a few years. I think it was 2011. I came back to England, and lo and behold, who got in touch with me straight away when he saw a Facebook post? It was Jeff.
He's obsessed with you.
Obsessed.
You moved across the world, and it's been years,
Yeah.
and he's still not over you.
He's keeping tabs, dude. He got in touch with me and asked to hang out, and I said, sure, why not? What could possibly go wrong?
Classic.
To shorten the story a little bit, let's just say Jeff and I decided to fool around that summer, and
Ooh.
he said some pretty weird things along the way, like, "Oh my God, I've waited for you for so long." And it was just all a little strange. I constantly told him that it would only be a summer fling because I was leaving for university in September and didn't want to do long distance. September rolls around pretty quickly, and it's going to be the last time we see each other, and I had to remind him of that. We talked about it in the car, and the man proceeded to cry.
Ugh.
He managed to gather his feelings enough to drop me off at home, and that was the last I heard from him for a while. I got to university, and I flourished. Ah, good for you. I was always a social butterfly, making new friends, going out to party, and much more. I was living in a student accommodation on campus, and I made plenty of friends in my building, including my new best friend. Let's call her Amy. Amy is of the same cultural background as me, but from a different part of a very large city we're both from. Although her family isn't very traditional, she is very traditional in her views and how she would like her future to be. Based on this, she had never had a boyfriend. She was saving herself until marriage. She never even had her first kiss when I met her. She was obsessed with Indian television shows and the traditional archetypes that they would show on those TV shows. That's what she wanted her life to look like. In my opinion, that is my idea of HE double hockey sticks. I am what you would call the less traditional Indian person, even though I've spent some time living in India, which I always thought was weird. One of the main reasons it would never work out with me and Jeff is because he didn't really have the ambitions, goals, or outlook in life that I had. Like I wanted to travel the world. I actually live in America now, build a career, and a bunch of other things before I settled down and got married and had children.
Well, look at you go.
I know, right? I would also never want to live with my parents or significant other's parents. Unfortunately, Jeff would never leave his parents, and any girl that he brought home would have to move in there. My idea of literal H-E-double hockey sticks. So back to university, I'm hanging out with my friend Amy every day, and she's always complaining, when will she find the right man? When is it going to happen for her? What is it going to take for her to find a nice Indian boy? And I thought, I might have a solution for this.
Girl, okay. Kind of crazy to me. Kind of crazy to me. Like if one of my friends was like, I'm just looking for a man. And I'm like, here's a man I hooked up with.
Right. Who's like obsessed with me.
Yeah, he's still obsessed with me.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. Because my friend is so Bollywood, the way in which I introduced them was obviously no less Bollywood either. I introduced them outside a Sikh. I introduced them outside a Sikh temple back in London where she fell in love at first sight, and I'd like to say that they lived happily ever after, but we'll get to that point. Flashback a little to my summer thing with Jeff. When Jeff was with me, albeit casual, he would fold to me and whatever I wanted. I wanted to go to a particular place for dinner. That's where we're going to. I don't want to see the movie he wants to watch. We're not watching it. He was a complete and total pushover for me, and it was insane how I saw that flip when he started dating Amy. Oh, interesting.
Because he's not obsessed with Amy.
Yeah.
He waited for you for years.
Right. He would do anything for you.
Yeah.
Amy had a very jaded view of what a relationship should be. Actually, jaded is the wrong word. She had this traditional fantasy view of it, where there is a patriarch in the family and his way is the only way. There is no highway either. It's only his way and that's it. The women in these scenarios do not have rights or say in anything. So she thought that all relationships were supposed to be that as well. Dang. I mean, teach their own, but also I worry.
Yeah.
I worry. She was super happy to have found a traditional boyfriend. What I didn't realize was how traditional he had become and how he was a completely different boyfriend to her than he was a fling to me, which I just found so bizarre. There was one time she was speaking to him over the phone on the speaker, and I walked into her house to hear him. He was berating her, calling her names, and telling her that she is wrong. He would have never dared to talk to me like that, and I know that, so I took the phone from her and told him that if I ever heard him talk to her like that again, this relationship is over, and I'm making sure of that.
She's like, I'm ending it for her.
I'm breaking up for you.
Yeah.
That's the last I ever heard him talk to her like that. There you go.
Perfect.
It worked.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. We had a few weird incidents over time. His behavior was just a little bit off, and we didn't really hang out as a trio. I wasn't quite comfortable with that at first, but when I started dating someone else, I could hang out with them and not be an awkward third wheel. There was one incident in particular that I still can't believe happened. This has become a core memory that has also shocked me to my core. Amy was a brilliant cook. There was one night when she was preparing food for a whole group of us because there was an Indian festival. I think it may have been Diwali. She was making the food and I was there early to help out. She came over to me with a cucumber. I thought she wanted me to chop it for her, but boy was I wrong. She handed it to me and asked me to show her what I can do with it. I had asked her why, and she said, he told me to ask you for advice because you do it better.
Ah!
Oh my goodness. That is so wild. It has so many layers to it, and I don't know what to say. Oh my goodness. That's so sad. Dude, he needs to, and that's so sad too that she's like in this traditional mindset of like, he's right, I'm wrong, and I can't leave him. When I tell you I begged her finest pardon at this moment, I called him straight away and went off because that was the most horrendous thing I'd ever heard. Dude, that is crazy. Just imagine you are inexperienced and have your first sexual experiences with the love of your life, and you tell them, hey, You should ask your best friend how she did that to me. Dude, that is crazy. Because she was saving herself for marriage, too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That sucks. Like, it's not about you, dude.
It's not.
It's not about you.
And that's just crossing so many lines, so many boundaries.
Like, honestly, someone else's first, like, if it's not your first schmexual experience, but it is someone else's, not about you and that, like, it's not about you. You should be comfortable, of course.
Sure.
But like,
you
want to make that person comfortable.
Yeah.
That's like the priority there.
Right. Like, that's a whole nother, like, pressure for
Yeah.
them. And then the fact that you're just like, no, you're wrong and your best friend is
You
better.
suck.
Yeah.
You suck.
So wild. That's the moment I started distancing myself from the relationship. I maintained my friendship with her and we remained close, but I stayed away from anything he was attending or might be attending. Fast forward, we graduated from university and went our separate ways. I went to grad school in a different city and then went traveling overseas for a couple of years, while she went back to our home city and joined the workforce. I came back to the country in 2017 and we got back in touch shortly after. She asked to catch up over the phone because she had great news to tell me. We're talking away about my travels and plans now that I'm back, her work, and more. We get on to the news and she tells me that she's getting married. I was genuinely very happy for her and screamed, "Congratulations!" into the phone, but she cut me off with, "Yeah, you're not invited." What a wild way to bring that up. That's crazy.
I'm getting married and you can't come.
Yeah, like, hold your applause. You're not invited. That's so wild. Color me puzzled at this point because why else would she be telling me about her impending nuptials other to invite me or something? She goes on to tell me that she will be inviting the rest of our friends, but she can't have me there because she knows I slept with him first. I was dumbfounded at this scenario but I didn't argue with her. It's her big day, and if she doesn't want me there, that's totally fine with me. In my mind, this was the end of the friendship too, as she clearly didn't want me around generally. A few days later, Jeff actually called me and apologized for not inviting me because he really wanted me there. Of course he wants you there. That's so bad that he still wants her there.
He wants you to be up at the altar.
Yeah.
That's where he wants you.
Yeah, because listen, if this was just like an ex kind of situation and they were truly just friends and there were no more feelings, then sure, that's totally fine.
Different.
And he can want her there, even if like the wife feels uncomfortable about it, I guess.
He's still in love with her.
Yes.
Wants her to perform spicy activities.
Yes. Like, this is so wild. I don't want this marriage to happen.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't want OP there either, but also I wouldn't continue this marriage.
No, exactly. Anyway, she invited all our mutual friends and they started a group chat to plan a surprise. And what?
Hen do, like a bachelorette.
Oh, okay.
It's like British.
Oh, gotcha. And they started a group chat to plan a surprise hen do for her, including me into it, as no one knew I was not invited at this time. That is so awkward.
Ooh, it's like, hey.
Oh, okay. I let everyone know that I wasn't invited to the wedding. Maybe I should just read the story and why. Everyone knows the history and how Amy and Jeff met. And there was an uproar. I was very adult about it and told them that I'll excuse myself from the group chat and let them carry on. All of our mutuals dropped out of the wedding because they only tolerated her for me and they didn't like her much anyway. Ooh. Whoa.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
That sucks, man. I mean, obviously she is at fault in this, but like,
yeah,
Jeff is like the main villain here.
Yes, I agree. This is so crazy.
I hope they're not friends with Jeff. I don't
Me
know
too.
how OP can still be friends with Jeff. Honestly, that would make me incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If like an ex partner, not even ex partner, just like an ex hookup kind of thing,
Right.
told their current girlfriend / partner to come to me,
Right.
and ask me something, that would make me incredibly uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Because it's like, if their friendship obviously started in like grade school, so it's like it makes sense that like they can still be friends like after hookup or something like that because it was just like one summer little fling thing. But yeah, after he's like being crazy like that. But I mean, it kind of does seem like she stopped a little bit being friends with him because she was like, distancing herself more and like telling him off and stuff. But I don't know what her thoughts are.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
But I know what my thoughts are on you guys watching and listening to more stories like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search Okay, story time. You'll find much more crazy things just like this story.
Do it.
Do it. But there is a little bit more. I'm just going to jump right in.
Let's jump right in. Let's find out.
Her wedding was only her family from her side, and he had a huge guest list of friends and family. They have since had 2 kids and are living with his parents. My ears are on the involuntary grapevine. My ears are on the involuntary grapevine. Grapevine, thank you. And apparently he's a total POS to her, and she's living a very traditional housewife life. That's so painful because I, have a housewife life if you'd like,
but I mean,
as long as like he's treating you well.
There is a difference between being a housewife,
Yeah.
with a partner who respects you,
Yeah.
and being a housewife with a partner who treats you like crap,
Yeah.
and thinks that just because you're a housewife, they get to tell you, treat you like a child.
Right. Like we want to leave those traditions in the past.
Yes.
But anyway, OP asks, so am I the a-hole for sleeping with my ex-best friend's husband? Side note, remember how I was friends with Jeff's cousin back in school? I had the opportunity to go as that cousin's date to the wedding, but I declined to.
Well, that would be incredibly weird if you were
That would
not
be
invited
super
to a
weird.
wedding and you're like, well, I backdoored my way into this wedding.
Right. That would be crazy
That would be a
drama.
little bit crazy of you.
Yeah, like the wife or the yeah. Never mind. I don't
She's
need
like,
to
why are
expand on
you
that.
here? And Opie's like, I was invited, you fool. You thought you could keep me away.
Right.
No.
Oh, that'd be so crazy. But that is the end of that story.
Yes. So we're going to get into
Wild.
the next one. My boyfriend just discovered that his ex is engaged and won't stop crying.
It should have been me.
Could have been me. I, 22 female, met my boyfriend, 24 male, 3 years ago through some mutual friends. He was pretty guarded, and I was the one that pursued him. We were long distance. I was living in Oregon. He was living in Washington until I moved in with him last year. By the way, this comes from Boyfriend is a Wreck. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my boyfriend has only had one other relationship and a hookup before me. He stopped talking to the hookup a long time ago because she was crazy. But he kept in touch with his ex until she cut contact with him around 2 years ago. They dated when he was 15, and it lasted for around 2 years. And then she dumped him because he had no self-respect. Apparently, she's the reason why my boyfriend is so guarded now. I'll admit that I was really jealous of her and was glad when she cut contact with him because she's beautiful, and my boyfriend talked about her as if she had all of life's answers. This past January, I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard my boyfriend crying quietly. I could tell that he was looking at his phone, and I wasn't sure whether or not to say anything since I wasn't sure if he just wanted a private moment or not. After a while, he got up to go to the bathroom, so I took a peek at his phone. He was on Facebook, looking at his ex's profile. She had gotten engaged, and there were pictures of the ring and everything. It's been 2 months now, and my boyfriend has been breaking down out of nowhere.
Oh, maybe it's because he's so happy that he found you.
If you're not over your exes, don't get in new relationship. But my moral of this story, don't get in relationships if you're not over your ex.
Yeah.
I keep asking him to talk to me about it, but he won't. I told him to talk to a therapist, and he got really insulted and said that he doesn't believe in therapy. That's obvious. I'm unsure of what to do since this happens at least twice a week.
Yo, that's wild.
If you're not over your ex, don't get into a relationship.
But like also maybe talk about it if it's happening twice a week.
Also
like,
that. Go to therapy.
Don't I don't know, say something. Be like, hey babe, so I've noticed you've been crying like on a timetable schedule.
It
like,
seems like
twice
you're
a week.
not over your ex.
Like, what's going on?
I love him, but he's always seemed a bit distant to me, and obviously this woman is the reason why.
Because look, okay, here's a reason, right?
Because he's not over his ex.
I know what we're all thinking. He's not over his ex. But what if he's actually upset because now his ex is getting engaged and he had an internalized competition where he wanted to get
And he's
engaged
lost.
to the love of his life
And
first.
he's lost.
And he lost. And he's crying because he wants to be able to give his partner all of the beautiful things in the world and he can't do it yet.
It's just Katy Perry, the one that got away. That's all it is. That's all
It could be that.
all it is.
Regardless.
I mean, you always remember like your first your first significant relationship, it's always gonna stick with you. But it's like,
Yeah. Get him, Sophia. Get him.
what are you grabbing?
Should I contact her and ask her if she has any insight? Yeah, he's not over her. I'm starting to think that she must have said something to upset him like this because he didn't seem that bothered when his ex was dating other people. Dating and getting engaged is a little different. Relevant comments deleted. Right. Okay.
I feel like that's an appropriate response to what I said.
Yeah. No, don't contact her. Her job is finished. If her ex still has problems with the relationship, that's his issue. Now, you, Missy, do not play fix it here. You can't fix the fact that your boyfriend is actually still in love with another woman. You can be the most perfect woman on earth, but while he still has her as his dream woman, you don't have a crap show. Honestly, and as hard as this may be, I'd talk to him about it again. And then if there is no resolution, I'd consider moving on. You deserve someone who thinks you are the best woman on earth, not some distant ex from his high school years. Good luck, OP, and big hugs. This stinks balls. And OP responds, thank you for your reply. I was insecure about my boyfriend's relationship with his ex from the start. They didn't talk that often, but they catch up once every few months through Skype or something. She lives on the East Coast, and when Hurricane Sandy hit, he called her, texted her, and messaged her on Skype, despite her having cut off contact with him prior to that. I didn't even know that he still had her phone number. Is this relationship hopeless? I knew that he still had a bit of a thing for her, but I didn't know the extent of it until now. If he can't move on after all this time, I don't understand why he got into a relationship with me. I don't get it either.
He tried to fill a hole.
Men are weird.
Women do that too.
I'm talking about men right now.
That's
Women
fine,
are
you're
also weird. We're all weird.
We're
Men
all
are
And
weird.
who's this story
Women are
talking about?
weird.
Men. He's talking about men.
There's a woman in that story.
Ladies, what's my weakness?
Okay, y'all are getting really
There's
defensive.
actually two women in that
Getting
story.
awfully defensive over here. I'm not talking about
Wait.
women. Obviously, women are doing it. I'm talking about the men in the story that are doing it.
I'm not defending
And they're
anything.
weird. You're like, well, women do it. Yeah, of course they do.
I mean, you said there's no women in this story. I'm like, there's two.
That is not what I
Is
said.
this only one man?
I said they're not talking about a woman in the story. They're talking about a man in the story. I didn't say there were no women in the story. Deleted. Sometimes we think we are more emotionally available than we actually are. And I want you to know this. It is not your fault. I find this happens with people who run away from their feelings and don't process grief. It all comes back and bites them in the bum big time. He probably didn't know it at the time when he got with you that he was like this. And now it's just spiraled out of control. Yeah. I'm going to be rough. And I'm sorry. You sound like an exceptionally loving and patient girlfriend, actually. To be honest, he sounds like a bit of a knucklehead putting his ex-girlfriend before you emotionally. And no, I think in the long term, you'll find it to be an uphill battle with him. I think a massive turnaround is highly unlikely if he is this bad 3 years into your relationship. 3 years is a lot to give up on, I know. But think about it. Wouldn't you rather be with someone who thinks you are the most amazing woman in the world? And OP says...
Sorry, no, I'll save that for later. We're in the middle of a thought.
No, it's fine. OP just responds. What's your thought?
Let's let him respond. I'll get it.
Okay.
Get it after.
OP says, I love him. From the moment I saw him, I knew that I wanted to be with him. He's incredibly smart and charming. But you're right. I've always felt insignificant in comparison to his ex, and I don't think that I realized quite how much. If I think about it, though, there were clues that I didn't pick up on. When we first started dating, I told him at some point that he didn't seem to want to open up to me. And he told me that it was because his ex had taught him not to become too vulnerable. I thought this would pass as we got more serious about each other, and he did open up a bit more, but whenever he caught up with his ex, he'd be distant with me again for a while.
Oof. That's a terrible sign. That's a pretty big warning siren, like a tornado just going off. So this is a problem that, I mean, we're talking about the man, and this man has not, and perhaps did not even know he needed to move on from this ex.
No, of course he didn't, because he probably jumped into another relationship.
Well, no, because he's maintaining.
He did say
he's doing Skype catch-ups like every couple months, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's no cutoff
No.
point. And one day he wakes up and he sees some post that this ex-girlfriend has now a ring on her finger. And then everything comes crumbling in around him in that one moment.
Yeah.
And now he's like, oh my God, I've missed out on the love of my life, blah, 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 blah. And this is just, if you would have properly processed the breakup at the beginning,
Yeah.
this would not have happened.
Exactly.
And that is a problem with the man in this story, but it's also a problem that can happen to every human being. Like if we don't
Obviously.
properly, and that's, well, it's fine. I'm not trying to defend this guy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's,
Watch out. Could happen to you.
It can. But
you
any
can
of us.
secretly like plant a little sleeper cell bomb in your head that will go off one day. And you're like, why? Why is it doing it? And it's like, oh, because I put it there. I didn't even know it.
Misa says Opie is still so young. She has so much more to live for than dealing with an emotionally unavailable man who is not over his ex.
Yeah, just leave. You just leave the guy.
Leave
the
him
guy, you know.
behind.
Move forward.
Leave him
A lot
behind.
of times our idealized versions of people that like we see in our head are like the relationship that we see
Yeah.
in 3 years from now is what makes us
It's not,
stay.
It wasn't, you're going to look back on it and you're going to be like, wow, it definitely wasn't as good as I was thinking it was.
Yeah, you will.
People who aren't over their exes aren't ready to be in a good relationship. Like it's always, something's always going to be off about it if they are not over the person that was before you.
The most icky part is the ex might be from Jersey.
What?
Yeah.
Just every girl this guy's ever dated is from New Jersey.
Oh. I don't know why his ex cut off contact with him, but after she did, he did seem more invested in our relationship, and so I had hope for us. He was the one that asked if I wanted to move in with him, but now this happened, and he barely wants to talk to me. I mean, she probably cut off contact because she was in this relationship, and she realized, oh, he is not over me.
Yeah, like once you realize as
Yeah.
someone getting married that like you have a friend who's into you and is not into you, like I don't know, you got to make a
Gotta cut
business
that off.
decision at that point.
Absolutely.
This is what's best for my
Especially an ex. who's
current
not over you.
relationship.
Yeah. But there is an update. Do you have any thoughts before we get into it?
Pretty much I unleashed my thoughts upon
Thoughts said.
the comment section. Yeah, this is you gotta be vigilant of our own little mental landmines we leave for ourselves.
Yeah.
And they're both young. They're in their 20s. Like
Truly. Oh, yeah.
it's a
You're good.
confusing time.
You're
Y'all
good.
need to talk about this. Like just
Well,
frankly.
that's the thing.
blatantly.
She said that like he was always so closed off. Like she tried to get him to open up about things, and he just didn't want to, and that was already a bad sign. But there is an update.
Yeah, and if you can't talk, that's an answer within itself. So there you go.
It's over, I think. I called my dad and asked him to help me move back home. These last 2 days have been really emotional. My boyfriend was gone all day yesterday. He was gone when I woke up. That's fine. I assumed he went to work early, but he still wasn't home when I went to bed. I texted him once I woke up to say good morning and twice at night, and one asking if he was coming home for dinner and another asking if he was all right. I also tried calling his cell, but he didn't pick up. I thought that I deserved some answers. So I decided to snoop, something that I've done once before when I was feeling insecure about his relationship with his ex. Well, on his laptop, hidden in a bunch of subfolders, was an MS document with his ex's name.
Okay.
I read it, and I'm assuming that he just saved the last conversation that he had with her right before she cut contact with him. I see you. I now understand why she cut contact. It started out normally, but then he asked her how her relationship with her now fiance boyfriend was going. She said that it was good and that she was happy. And then it got weird because he said something like, really? Are you sure?
And then she said, oh my God, now that you mention it, I'm in love with
I'm
you.
still
and
in
I'm
love
gonna
with
leave
you.
him for you.
She said yes and said that was a weird question. And he said, I don't know. I don't believe that you're that happy. I don't remember everything exactly because my head was spinning, but he basically told her that her fiance, then boyfriend, will never treat her as well as he did, and that they've known each other X number of years and managed to stay friends after their breakup, that they've helped each other grow as people, and that she should really give him another chance.
Oof. Oof. Big old oof. Oof.
He said that he's waited for all these years and that he loves her and always believed they wind up together. This was all while he was with me.
Ooh. Big old oof. All right, maybe we don't all do this. This is the You saved this in a Word document? This exchange?
She called him an a-hole and told him that he had a lot of balls to say all of that to her when she told him a long time ago they're only ever going to be friends, and that he's an even bigger a-hole for doing this while they were both in relationships. She told him to go to heck and to break up with me for my sake because I deserve better. That's not even the worst part.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
My boyfriend woke me up this morning by calling my cell and telling me to come to the kitchen. He said that he made breakfast. So I go to the kitchen getting ready for a fight. He and I never fight, but I am so gosh dang hurt. And he made what honestly looked like an amazing breakfast with a ring box in the middle of the table.
Oh.
I can't eat that.
You're like,
I
what?
want a breakfast.
This isn't a candy ring. What are we doing here?
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's not going to work. What are we doing?
He told me to open it. I did. He said something like, "These last 3 years with me has been an adventure, and he hopes to keep making new adventures with me." I guess around this time, I snap out of whatever haze I've been in, and I exploded. I demanded to know where he was all day yesterday, why he wouldn't contact me, why he's been crying over his ex for the last 3 months, everything. He got mad at me for being mad. He told me that I should be happy because he was proposing, and wasn't that what I wanted? I asked him why, when it's so obvious that he'd rather be with his ex. He told me that she's obviously moved on, so it's time for him to move on too. Boy, it's been time! It's been 3 years of time! You should have moved on ages ago! I have never been so angry in my life. Yeah. I've been so incredibly patient with this man and done my best to be understanding of his situation. I've literally given him all that I had, but I'm not going to get married to him just to be his consolation prize. Yeah. The only good consolation prize is that one song.
Yeah, nice. What song?
Yeah.
Is it called Consolation Prize?
Might be. Yeah, I think it's called Consolation Prize.
That one song called about consolation
Yeah,
prizes.
what's it called? Consolation Prize.
Yeah, no, this is unhinged behavior to be like, well, I mean, I guess she's
Is this
moved
what
on
you
because
wanted?
she's like rejected me, so I guess, well, what? I'm going to marry you. Why are you
Yeah,
mad?
like she's marrying someone else, so I might as well marry you. If I can't have her.
You hit him with if she broke up with her fiance right now and asked you to marry her, would you do it? And when he goes, yeah, that's
then
when
you say, okay,
you go,
bye.
or when he hesitates for literally 2 seconds. You cannot hesitate at that question. If you hesitate at all, out, be gone.
He wants to have a wedding before his ex has a wedding.
Yeah, he wants to one up her.
That's what he wants to do.
Absolutely.
What a pathetic little boy.
That's what he wants to. That's the same mindset of like, oh, someone wants to have a wedding. I'm going to do that right before them.
It's so ironic because had he proposed 4+ months earlier, I would have been ecstatic. Now it's just broke our relationship. So yeah, I called my dad crying, and he's on his way to help me move back in with him and my mom. That's it. I'm a wreck, but I think it's just because everything wrong and twisted in this relationship is hitting me, and it took so long for me to understand, and my ex is just sitting on the couch with his laptop.
Dang, nonchalant.
Thank you guys so much for helping me see how unfair this whole relationship was. I read all of the comments, and there are some relevant comments, but guys, we're only halfway through the story.
Things are going to get better for OP.
I'm hoping.
They've got to get.
We're only halfway through, and OP's already leaving this guy.
It's time for upswing.
He made a mistake. People have made bigger mistakes before.
You gotta read the relevant.
Oh, downvoted, deleted comment.
Wow.
He made a mistake. People have made bigger mistakes before and overcome it. He was putting you number one by proposing to you. You said you had 3 years of happy relationship together before this. Although he had a temporary lapse in judgment, he still wants you.
It wasn't temporary.
You're looking for an incredibly perfect fairy tale where everything plays out exactly like you wanted it. After you break up, you'll start to realize all the things he did to say and show he loved you. Things that should trump this revelation.
Is this him?
Sounds like things are your way or the highway. Ooh-wee. Hopefully, if another man loves you, he'll be willing to put up with that.
So that's 100% OP's ex right there. That's the only person who could have wrote that. God dang. Sheesh.
Opie responds, I thought that my relationship was a happy one. Yes, but I didn't know that my ex was declaring his love for his ex-girlfriend and trying to win her back while he was still with me. Nor did I know that once she blocked him on Facebook, he was logging into my account to keep tabs on her. If you honestly believe that someone that's been crying for 3 months over an ex's engagement really wanted to be with me, you're in the minority.
3 months.
And also has been messaging her over the years.
Yeah, they've kept in contact. So
and then
it's
he
not
asked her
like
to be with him.
and he lied and was like, yeah, we'll just be friends. And then the whole time he's like, but maybe one day.
But maybe she'll choose me.
And that makes him an a-hole.
And an emotional cheater. And judging by the fact that he had bought the ring the day before he proposed, he really hadn't planned anything at all. I'm astounded by your post, honestly. Me too, OP, me too.
Astounded.
There is an update 3 weeks later, but wow.
Don't be this man.
Be better.
And don't be that commenter.
Don't be that commenter either. Who
Who
maybe
I'm
is also
almost
that man.
certain is that man.
Maybe one and the same.
I'm trying to process what has to happen to a person to
Move on.
to make a comment like that. Does it have to be this?
I mean, you have to be not. That person also has to be not over their ex.
In a different scenario, I'm like, maybe this is actually, that's not even wrong. If there aren't any messages, if they're not staying in contact, if it is just like a weird, like, dude, I don't know, I saw this and it freaked me out. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. Let's talk it out. We can figure this out. That's for sure doable. The whole like saving your final message in a Microsoft Word document and it's not good. And
Yeah.
that's like a toxic fixation.
Yeah. I feel like there is sometimes this like thought pattern that when you get out of a relationship or just like any sort of situation, you know, romantic situation, that you won't be able to get over it until you get with someone new. And that's not true. If you take the time, no matter how hard it feels and no matter how much it feels like you won't ever get over it, give it time and wait until you do feel like you're over it before getting into another relationship. Because I've been through it and I was like, wow, I'm never going to be over this until I get with someone else. No, that's not true. One day you're like, oh yeah, I actually don't care about that anymore. So dude, get over your relationship. That's my friendly advice to the man in this story.
Yeah.
Oopsie's ex.
And if you really can't after years and years and years, you got to get help.
You got to go to
Professional
therapy because
You
you're
gotta get it.
obsessed. You are dealing with obsession.
Yeah. And it's just bad for you. It's bad for you and bad for everyone around you in your life. It's like a partner. It's just all bad.
And Caitlin Von Comment says, I mean, when I saw that my ex from 10 years ago got married, it definitely made me feel weird, but I'm also not in a relationship. Weird is different
Then
than sobbing for 3 months. I don't think...
twice a week.
I
Twice a
think
week, by the way.
most people would feel some sort of way about seeing their ex getting married. I think most people would feel at least a couple emotions. Sobbing for 3 months should not be one of them.
This is true.
I don't think that feeling weird about your ex getting married is not being over them. I think you can still be
Yeah.
over them and feel weird.
Yeah. No, it's, yeah.
Getting over some like an ex doesn't mean that you have literally no thoughts or feelings about them. It just means that like you're not, I don't know.
It means that you're not sending messages
Yeah.
like, are you really happy with the
Yeah.
guy you're with
It's like
right
you're not
now?
still
It's like-
emotionally invested in everything they do. But there is an update. My ex went more or less crazy after I moved back home. I blocked him from essentially everything, changed all my passwords, and deactivated my Facebook, so he had no way of reaching me aside from literally driving to my parents' house to see me. Apparently, he started sending messages to my friends. Some of them are mutual friends, asking to use their Skype accounts to talk to me. He told them that I stole some things from him when I moved out, and he wanted them back. I got a few phone calls from my friends asking me about this. They told me that they knew that I didn't steal anything from him because that's not like me at all, but they wanted to know why he was so desperate to contact me. I wasn't ready to tell the whole story. Honestly, I don't think anyone would believe me, so I told them that I didn't know what was going on, but asked them not to give their Skype accounts by any means. A few days after that, the phone calls started, all from a few different numbers that I didn't recognize. I didn't pick any of them up. But one day I'd have about 20 missed calls from one number, then another 20 plus from a different number. I had to set my phone to only allow calls from specific numbers. Otherwise, it would go straight to voicemail. After the 5th day of the phone calls, I broke down and told my mom everything that happened. She didn't say much. She mostly let me talk. Afterwards, she told me that I made the right decision, but there's absolutely no reason why I should be going through this alone. She said that she didn't want to push me to tell her what happened until I was ready, but that the best thing that I could be doing right now is spending time with people that love and support me. So after going with me to get my phone number changed, she encouraged me to start calling my friends and telling them what happened and to just hang out with them more in general. I had it stuck in my head that everyone would side with my ex and tell me that I made a terrible mistake, that his intentions were good, and I blew things out of proportion by insinuating that he only proposed because his ex-girlfriend got engaged.
But that's exactly why
But
he did that.
He didn't have the ring until a day before he proposed.
And he didn't move until he got shut down by the ex completely and totally with no chance of recovery.
Apparently, my ex had been telling everyone that we broke up because I had major jealousy issues over his ex. But once they heard my side of the story, I was actually shocked by how many of them said that it made sense. Yeah, because it's pretty easy to tell who's the crazy one. They've all told me that I've done the right thing and that they'd back me up no matter what.
They're like, yeah, we did all find that shrine in the back of his closet.
Weird, but he said that you were obsessed with him, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what's funny? Not funny. Scary, maybe. I think OP's replacing the previous ex.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah. I think this is the new person that he's not going to
Give it a couple weeks, maybe a month. He's gonna start making that letter to you and
They've all told me.
And I'm just going, oh, now you've been replaced. Now the shrine will be of you.
I just felt this huge sense of relief, and I've been making an effort to go out more. I will be honest, though, there are times where I wonder if I was wrong. Sometimes I think that maybe my ex had been grieving over his old relationship, and proposing to me was his way of starting over. You were not the starting over point, though. Proposing should not be starting over from the old relationship. It should be like you've progressed within this relationship to a point where you guys feel really strong.
It's like he proposed and like, oh wow, I'm over her. Amazing. Wow, that's all I needed to do.
He's like, babe, would you make me the happiest man who is now, I can happily say, over his ex?
Also marry me,
Yeah.
I guess. Because she won't.
Won't freaking marry me. But I love you.
Will you marry me because she won't?
No.
Oh.
Well, I guess I'll find a new you, and then you can be my new ex.
Maybe one day you'll marry me.
Sometimes I think that I turned down the only marriage proposal that I'll ever get. Girl, you're like, how old is she? 21?
20.
Girl, you're 22. If that's the only marriage proposal that you'll ever get, like, everyone else is not getting married.
Yeah, no one's getting married.
And sometimes I think that maybe I should have accepted because I loved him, and you don't often find people that you truly love. That's because right now you aren't over him. But you will be.
Takes time.
Takes time. But sometimes you get there. Eventually you get there. But then on the days that I'm feeling wiser, I remind myself how bizarre our last few weeks together were. How I always knew deep down that I was second best for him, and how he's been behaving since we broke up. I've never seen him so unstable. He was always so calm and logical. So this is completely new to me. I knew deep down that I did the right thing, but sometimes what you know in your head and feel in your heart are so completely different. So that's basically it. I'm just going through the motions, and I'm going to make an appointment with the therapist.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
I wish that I had something more profound to update with you guys, but I don't. My best advice for anyone going through something similar is what my mom told me. Surround yourself with people that love and support you. And there is I think, somewhat final update, maybe.
June 1st.
Nearly 2 months after. the
Your
last.
mom had some banger advice right there. All right. And we've gone 2 months into the future.
Yeah.
OP's got a new life.
Yeah.
Things are clicking into place. And she's going to meet the
love
the-
of... Okay,
the-
well, maybe not the love of her life.
the
I think you need
no,
more time.
the love of your life.
But then she's not going to get with them.
And they're the queen of France.
What?
Okay.
Right?
First, my ex mailed me the engagement ring that he bought shortly after my last update. I didn't know what to do with it. I wasn't sure if the ring was what he had been claiming that I stole. Oh, so he's trying to mail you proof. I also felt weird about mailing it back because what if he claimed that he never got it? So my dad volunteered to personally deliver the ring back to him, and you should record it. Do some vlogging.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything was said when my dad brought it back, and I never asked. Second, I heard from some friends that 2 weeks ago, my ex bought a ticket and flew to NYC to try and talk to his ex. Brother. Somehow he found out the name of the company that she worked for, looked up its location, and waited in front of the building all day.
That's wild.
That's so wild.
Brother, I hope it was her day off.
I have no idea what happened, but apparently there aren't any signs of her coming back. So I'm assuming that it didn't go very well. I can't believe that he did that. And I can't believe that I dated someone that was that crazy for 3 years. I suppose it helps every time that I hear about something like this because it reinforces the fact that I did the right thing. Sometimes, you just need to get the ick. And then you're like, oh, I'm actually, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of icks out
I met with 2 therapists. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. Every time I said something, he'd ask, and how do you feel about that? No feedback or suggestions whatsoever. At the end, he suggested that I was depressed and might want to consider a few different medications. I don't intend on seeing that guy again.
Well, I mean, hey, maybe.
There's no way that you can say that someone's depressed after one meeting.
Was it just one?
Yeah, that was the first meeting with that guy. I don't think that's crazy.
Well,
to,
I mean,
to not only say that a person's depressed, but also to prescribe medication. I feel like you gotta have more than one.
Was it really only one?
Yeah.
Because there was only one.
Yeah, no, she was saying that she met this guy, and she was like, I'm not going back to him.
Yeah, that sounds whack. Yeah, not all therapists are created equal.
I met the second one last week, though, and I liked her a lot. She told me that she doesn't think that I need to see her regularly, but to feel free to make appointments whenever I'm feeling especially down or stressed. So I think I'll do that. A few people asked why I wanted to see a therapist in my last post, because I seemed to be doing the right things. Well, the problem was that even though I knew I was doing the right thing, I didn't necessarily feel that they were right. I mean, therapy's always good. I still doubted myself, and I felt like a different person than I used to be. Prior to this mess, I was always very optimistic and happy in general. I always try to make the best of things, but at the time of my last post, I felt down, and even though I was making an effort to see friends, I wasn't really enjoying it. Anyway, this brings me to where I am now. I started a paid internship with the chance of getting hired full-time almost a month ago, and I love it. I love the people, the work itself, and the fact that I'm getting back into routine. I'm a little embarrassed to say that I'm attracted to the guy that hired me. It's about my age.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna put a fork in that one. You don't do that in the workplace.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, but that's
I
good.
don't
You're
know.
moving on.
I've never heard of a single example of workplace romance going wrong.
It's like
Yeah,
mic drop or like the
perfect.
scratch. Like, hold on.
Have you seen? Well, nope, never mind.
Yeah.
A spoiler. I don't want to spoil anything.
But spoiler alert, you guys can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Whew. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Mine. I feel like I've gotten all my thoughts in this, man.
He went to New York.
New York City. Oh, wait.
I deeply hope that she was off work that day and he stood out all day for nothing, because that you should be go to jail. Go to jail
Go
for that.
straight to
sir.
jail.
Go straight to jail.
There's nothing going on, and I definitely am not ready or willing to be in a relationship. Good. It's simply the fact that he's the nicest, best-mannered person that I've ever met, and sometimes it's just nice to have a cute person there to look at. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes
Sometimes you just need some eye
There
candy.
they are, right there.
there they are.
Right there. He's always positive, polite, and smiling, so it's impossible not to be in a good mood around him.
Oh, she got butterflies.
So it's not that I think my next relationship should be with him or that I have feelings for him. It's just that I realize that the type of person that I should be looking for is someone that makes me feel good just by being around them. Dude, you know what?
Good.
Girl,
Oh.
I'm going to let you kid yourself, but I've done this before where this was in college, and I was like, oh my God, this person is so nice. Like, doesn't everyone, like, whenever you talk to them, don't you all just like fall in love with them a little bit? And everyone was like, no. And I was like, no, like, you know, when you talk to them, you just fall in love with it a little bit. And they were like, I think that's just you. And it was just me.
Gotta love that. We're not all falling in love with the same guy
Yeah.
every time his mouth moves.
But I was like genuinely convinced that I didn't have a crush on him.
Yeah.
That I was like, he's just so nice that
Yeah.
everyone loves him.
You guys all know the butterflies you get in your stomach when he talks to you.
You know.
And you just think about
yeah.
him all the time,
I was like-
24/7, and
I was
like,
like, you know,
how
like
his
sometimes
hair
I just talk
looks,
to him
his-
and I'm like,
his smile,
just
how
a
he
little
smells.
in love with him.
Yeah.
But I don't have a crush on him. And they were like,
I think you got a crush on him.
It's crazy how everyone I know likes everything about that.
Yeah. I don't give much thought to my ex anymore. It's amazing how much life changes over the course of a few months. But I think that everything is turning around for the best. And that is the end of that story.
For the best.
Charles, I got a membership today specifically to watch this live, and I'm so happy I did. These stories be wild today.
Let's go.
These stories were wild today.
Carl.
You came for a good stream.
Too many
Let's
kids.
go. Thank you for being here, Carl.
Too many secret kids.
We're glad that you showed up on a banger.
Big Mommy Panda, thank you for the $5. I met my husband at work. We now have a kid, 2 cats, and a house. Why does everyone have a kid, 2 cats, and a house? Why did you both have 2 kids in a house? And a cat.
You're going to start putting the lines, to like the red lines together. You're like,
why
it's
does
all
everyone
made
have a
up.
kid in a house?
It's all made up. They all
How
have
does
2
it work?
kids, a cat, and a house.
How can they afford that in this economy? I need my own lasagna. That's the end of the story and the end of the episode. Give us one more. Go.
And Purple Trader, if you want the rainbow, you got to tolerate the rain, okay?
Ain't that the truth?
If you want the lasagna, you got to tolerate the hungies.
But if you want the love, what?
She wanted lasagna.
But if you want to love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you
And see you tomorrow.